Explore your choices. I'll walk you through their cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexspyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Spies KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
Sniff the difference. Game.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
The season starts at Rally House. From jerseys and hats to tumblers for game day, it's where outrageous selection meets every fan's style.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State, Chiefs and Royals make KC great. Rally House, it's your city, it's your house, it's the Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
Welcome to Radio Rental. The scariest stories you've ever heard in your life. All told by real people. And off we go.
This wasn't a human being that I saw. There's something here in this house, something not of this world.
There was a woman moving through the hall. I stepped back and I was completely alone.
Radio Rental is available now. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. The Drives Pop-A-Shot Tournament is Wednesday, March 18th at DraftCade starting at 6:30. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
In the spirit of Jeopardy, shout out to the legend Alex Trebek. I'll take things I never thought I'd talk about with the Kansas City Chiefs for 500, Alex, in regards to tonight's program. After hours here on 96.5, The Fan, Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams. And folks, apparently the news of the day today is not Selection Sunday yesterday. The NCAA tournament field is set for both men's and women's basketball. It's not the World Baseball Classic tonight. We've got a handful of Royals competing this evening. No, it's the fact that the Chiefs traded for a quarterback, despite the fact that they have Patrick Mahomes. Huge news story today. We begin the program tonight, and our text line is 913-586-7965. Yeah, Chiefs acquired Justin Fields from the New York Jets. The overall details of the move is that the Chiefs get Fields, and the Jets get a 6th-round pick in 2027. So this is, first of all, that was my biggest takeaway from this move, right? The Chiefs have had so much attrition in terms of their roster this offseason, with pretty much everybody outside of George Karlaftis from the 2022 draft class going elsewhere. You had to have extra bodies on this team for next season, right? You got to have, 90 guys for the preseason roster, and then, of course, whittle it down to 53 for the active roster. You have 9 picks in this year's draft, and with how many guys you lost, you couldn't really afford to give up many, if even one, of those selections. And the Chiefs were able to avoid that with this deal. And they bring in a quarterback who has, I will still say, promise in this league. I think that he has had the bitter misfortune throughout his career of being in horrendous situations. I mean, dating back to the beginning of his career when he was drafted by the Chicago Bears, and there was no offensive line, no real weapons to get the football to, outside of like DJ Moore, who they acquired, towards the end of his tenure. The guy was sacked 135 times in 3 seasons in 40 games that he appeared in with the Chicago Bears. He went to Pittsburgh for a year where he split starts with Russell Wilson, mostly because Russ was hurt. And then he went to the Jets last year, and that place was an absolute dumpster fire. Do I think that there's any chance Justin Fields can become a starting quarterback in this league? I have very little hope for that. Very little belief in that. But I will say, if there's anybody that I believe could make Justin Fields into a starting quarterback in this league when he inevitably goes to his next stop, it would be Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and even Patrick Mahomes. Just getting to work with Pat every day, getting to pick the brain of the best quarterback in football, along with one of the best offensive minds in football, with an offensive coordinator that is so known for keeping his guys accountable. And I'm already seeing messages in the text line. I got an 816 who's saying we couldn't have traded for Jameis Winston or something instead of Fields. No, and I'll tell you why. Okay, the reason why I believe, and I don't know this for certain, this is just what I see with this move being made, it tells me one thing for certain, and that is that the Chiefs brought in a backup quarterback who could do things differently than Patrick Mahomes can do them. Because, and not to say that there's a quarterback out there that can do what Patrick Mahomes does. If there were, he wouldn't be a backup quarterback in this league. What I mean by that is that you look at like a Matt Moore or a Chad Henne, right? Those guys couldn't do what Mahomes does because they were physically limited. Justin Fields can't throw the football anywhere near the level of a Patrick Mahomes. But what Justin Fields can do that Patrick Mahomes cannot do as well is he is a tremendous runner of the football. And I think that is where Justin Fields' biggest impact on this Chiefs team is going to come from. The fact that he's somebody that you have to take seriously out of the backfield as a runner, more so even than as a thrower. I mean, look back on that. I think it was the second year he was in the league with Chicago where he had 1,100 yards rushing that year. He's, for his career, I think he's like second all-time among quarterbacks in yards per carry, which is sort of outrageous. I am extremely curious about how the Chiefs could potentially use Justin Fields in this offense. I don't think that this move should tell anybody or make anybody concerned about Patrick Mahomes' rehab process. This to me doesn't feel like a move that is, Mahomes may miss a few weeks, right? I think they could have found a more reliable veteran backup quarterback with a wealth of experience to come in and do what, to just do the job for a couple of weeks till Mahomes gets healthy. This, to me, feels like a situation where you bring in a guy like Justin Fields to give yourself different looks, to bring him in obvious running situations, potentially a 3rd and short, 4th and short situation, right? Quarterback sneaks and all those different things that we haven't seen this team do in nearly a decade since Mahomes' kneecap was on the side of his leg. This is something that I feel like is much more than just a backup quarterback, in my opinion. This feels like another weapon in Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy's system.
I feel as though what the Chiefs are doing to combat the chance that Mahomes might not be ready for the start of the season is not so much personnel related, it's schedule related. And this is no inside reporting. This is just me speculating that I would imagine Clark Hunt is in Goodell's ear like, hey man, we've done so much for you schedule wise the last few years. You can put us on that Thanksgiving Wednesday game if you want. I know we have a road game against the Falcons, and they're scheduled to go to Spain this year. You can throw us in Spain if you want. But how about we get like Jets, Dolphins, Cardinals to open this season? You know what I'm saying? Just on the off chance Mahomes isn't ready or another receiver is suspended again to start this season.
Yeah.
How about you go easy on us to start this season? That's what I would imagine the Chiefs are doing to combat the chance that Mahomes is not healthy. I don't think this is a reflection on Mahomes' health whatsoever. I just think they want something different than the mold they've had as his backup for the first almost decade of his career. It's been the Matt Moore, the Chad Henne, the Gardner Minshew. Now I think they're going more for and I hate the Sam Darnold comp. I think this is nothing like a Sam Darnold, but I do think it is a Malik Willis or a Daniel Jones. They went after disastrous starts of their careers. They went to better organizations and sat for a year or two, then moved on to become a starter. And I think the Chiefs want someone that has that promise. And Justin Fields is looking for that same trajectory those guys saw as well. So that's what I think the Chiefs are looking for. I don't think it has anything to do with Mahomes' health.
No, I don't think it does at all. You're right. I think this feels like sort of a means to an end kind of relationship that I think could very much so benefit both sides. You know, the first thing that I thought when I thought about Justin Fields on the Kansas City Chiefs and like what my hopes are for what Justin Fields can be, the first name that came to mind was Taysom Hill. The guy is an athletic specimen. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. That doesn't feel at all like something that Andy Reid would do necessarily. But is there a situation like a Philly special sort of set where Justin Fields is lined up at wide receiver for some reason and he comes in motion, Mahomes throws it to him, and then it's a throwback to those sorts of interesting situations? Is there a formation out there where Mahomes is lined up at quarterback and you got Justin Fields to his left and Kenneth Walker to his right? I was telling you in the bullpen, when I was in high school, we played a team in the state championship my sophomore year. It was Lamar. And if you're not familiar with Lamar Tigers high school football in Missouri, I would look it up because they're outrageous. When I was in high school, we played them in a state title game, and they ran a 2-quarterback set. They had like a throwing quarterback and a rushing quarterback, and they would, on any given play, they'd line up in the shotgun and sort of stagger the center. And the center, depending on the play call, would snap it to whichever quarterback was running the play. Is there a formation out there that Andy Reid could devise? I mean, if there's anybody in this league that is willing to do what many people wouldn't even think to do, it's Andy Reid. I mean, the creativity that he exhibits as a play caller has been the stuff of legend in this league. And while we have complained for the last 2 or 3 seasons that imagination, that creativity has been lacking, a player like a Justin Fields could infuse a little bit of that. And whether it's, novelty or not, whether it's, arm candy or what have you, whatever analogy you're looking for, I think the addition of a player like Justin Fields, a quarterback who is extremely dangerous with his legs, is something that an opponent, whether they want to or not, may have to spend a little bit of time game planning for, just on the off chance that Andy Reid decides to get a little bit weird with it.
I think you will, and I think you're right. I'm going to give you the same on the air here, the same comeback I gave you in the bullpen to this as well. Is sure, I think there's going to be a situation in which Reid can get creative with Mahomes and Fields in the same package. There might be plays that have Fields' name on them even when he's not a starter, even if Mahomes is healthy. I'll go farther and say, hey, we can run a quarterback sneak now. We might see a quarterback sneak or a tush-push type play with Justin Fields. We're also going to see a formation that Chiefs Twitter loses their minds over when it's 3rd and short, early in a game, in a meaningless game. It's going to be Sunday at noon against the Raiders. And they're going to roll out Xavier Worthy and Justin Fields in the backfield, and they're going to have Mahomes split out at wide receiver, and they're going to run like an option with Fields and Worthy, a direct snap to Worthy or something like that. And we're going to lose our collective minds. recently Andy Reid has giveth and he has taketh away in those situations too. So, no, I kid a little bit about that last part, but I do think the creative juices will be able to flow a little bit more. Look, I think Justin Fields, you said promise. I would agree with you. I think there's something in there. In those 6 games he played in Pittsburgh, it wasn't much. He completed 2/3 of his passes. He turned the ball over 1 time. They won 4 of those games. And that offense 2 years ago stunk. This is pre-DK Metcalf. This is I think maybe Broderick Jones was still a rookie. I'm not sure if they had Siamalu yet. Like, the O-line stunk. And he was pretty good. All it took was him not being in a terrible dumpster fire of an organization.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the other stops he's been. I mean, those 3 years in Chicago, they were god-awful, and he was the most sacked quarterback in football. Last year, he played in 9 games for the Jets last year. He was sacked 27 times. Now, a wild majority of those came in 1 game. I think it was their international game where he was sacked like 9 times or something outrageous. Right. And several of those were his fault. He's got a terrible habit of holding on to the ball too long.
Yeah, did he start that 13-11 game against the Broncos?
Yeah, I think that was Yeah, that was the international game that they played against the Broncos. I think it had to have been a Sunday morning game because I was here doing after hours Sunday morning prior to a Chiefs game watching that happen, and I'm like, this is unreal what I've been watching. So, again, I think that there's not a whole lot to look into with this situation. I think more so than anything, the Chiefs have their backup quarterback, somebody that's a little bit different than anybody else that they brought along. And that may coincide, obviously, with Mahomes having the serious knee issue last year. And maybe there's certain things that he's going to be able to help this offense with along the way as Mahomes comes back from this injury, as Mahomes continues to get older, right? He's on the other side of 30 at this point. But I really don't think that this should make anybody consider Mahomes is, quote, behind on his rehab or he may not be able to go week 1 because I have received no such indication of that. This feels like another weapon Mahomes can use to try and fool opponents and make some things happen. That guy that you can give the ball to on a 3rd and short, 4th and short situation where when you want to run a quarterback sneak, you don't have to put Noah Gray behind center anymore. You can have an actual quarterback, somebody that, while nobody's afraid of him throwing the ball, you do have to have that consideration in the back of your mind if you're the opposing team.
I could see how that starts. You started early in the season with Fields running a couple of sneaks, and then later as the games get more important, he takes a snap on 4th and short, and he rolls out and looks for a tight end in the flat or something, or Worthy on the sprint out right that Tyreek Hill used to run all the time on 4th and short. I just think we can't get choosy with our backup quarterback. Like the text line, why didn't we get Jameis Winston or Joe Flacco or whoever else? If teams wanted a guy to be their quarterback, he'd be a starter somewhere. Like the quarterback play in this league just drops off a cliff after you get around quarterback 12 to 15 or so. So I'm not upset that we didn't get quarterback X, Y, or Z. I just think it comes down to, do we want another career backup, a Tyrod Taylor type, or do we want a guy that we think has some sort of athletic promise that could be rejuvenated somehow to back up Patrick Mahomes? So I don't think it is this guy can go 2-2 for us while Mahomes is out. I don't think it is, well, if Mahomes is out for the whole year, Fields is the best backup in the league. I think it's just we want a different type of backup than we've had.
Yeah, just bring something different to the table. Somebody in the text line said, as we progress further and further in this league, mobile quarterbacks are becoming more and more of a factor in this league. And if the Chiefs got a matchup against the Ravens, for a backup quarterback, a scout team guy to try to simulate the things that Lamar Jackson can do, there's not many options you could find that are a better scout team look for Lamar Jackson than a Justin Fields, with his running ability and the things that he can do with the football outside of just throwing the thing. So we'll see. And not to mention the fact that the Chiefs got a pretty sick deal out of it. They gave up a 6th round pick next year, meaning you still have all 9 of your draft picks coming up in April. And you're looking at a situation where the Chiefs are only paying $3 million of the $10 million that he was supposed to make next year, that with the Jets incurring the majority of that leftover money. So this kind of feels like a no harm, no foul type of situation for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, your backup quarterback who stunk in the 6 plays he ran last year. I'm talking about Gardner Minshew before he got hurt. He just got $8 million, and he's not even promised a starting gig in Arizona on maybe the worst team in football, or one of them at least. And you got this guy for a third of that on the books, and what is the equivalent of a 7th-round pick this year. Yeah, I'm not worried by this move whatsoever. I think it's a good move.
913-586-7965. Lots of messages in the text line, some of them positive, some of them straight up rage bait. So we'll get to those here on the other side. Logan Weber, Nathan Williams, you're listening to After Hours on your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Please gamble responsibly. If I had to look at a non-1 seed to make the Final Four coming up in the big pro basketball tournament, I would take a look at Houston. Houston is the 2 seed in the South region. Florida, the defending champion, is the 1 seed in that region. I think Houston can get by Illinois, potentially, in the round of 16. And then if it's Houston against Florida in a championship rematch from last year in the regional final, I think Houston's guard play would rule the day there. It doesn't make you feel good to ever take Houston to do anything, but if I had to take a non-1 seed, I would look at Houston at plus 250. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
CertaPro Painters recently painted my home and exceeded my expectations. I booked a free estimate, reviewed a detailed proposal, and scheduled my project on the spot. When you choose CertaPro Painters, you're partnering with trusted local professionals with over 70,000 five-star reviews. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in KC. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. We've all been there. You wake up and your knees give you that not today feeling, and it's frustrating and exhausting. Honestly, it's unfair. Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. Yeah, I didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel way older than you actually are. QC Kinetics patients are getting relief, feeling younger, and jumping back into life at full speed without surgery. The medical professionals at QC Kinetics use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science. They take the tiny, powerful healing tools already inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation eases and joint damage slows down, because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate. Your consultation's free. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Baseball is back. Opening night is one exclusive game, and it's live on Netflix. On Wednesday, March 25th, the New York Yankees, led by 7-time All-Star Aaron Judge, head to the Bay Area to face Rafael Devers and the San Francisco Giants. A brand new way to watch Major League Baseball, and it all starts here. MLB opening night, Yankees vs. Giants, live on Netflix, Wednesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The greatest insult the Colonel ever suffered was being served a wrap that was just a snack by a friend. So he took 2 crispy tenders, lettuce, tomatoes, and pepper mayo, and wrapped them in a soft tortilla. It wasn't a snack, it was a meal. He called it a twister, and never called that friend again. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. The Twister, now back at KFC, classic or with bacon. Also try it spicy. It's finger-licking good.
Prices and participation may vary. Tonight, expect a mostly clear night with a low of 17.
Weather brought to you by Staples. From posters and presentations to labels and loyalty cards, Staples has all the print to boost your brand. Shop now in-store and online. Staples. That was easy.
You already listen to 96.5 The Fan, but are you following us? Our Instagram is loaded with show clips, breaking news, mock drafts, and content you can't get on the air, like Thy Royal Decree and Chiefs Take Tuesday. Go to Instagram, search for The Fan 965, and hit that follow button. If you don't do this immediately, Dusty has threatened to do a photo shoot in a bathing suit. Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
I promise this conversation won't go on much longer than this, but talking about the Chiefs' acquisition of Justin Fields that took place earlier today in exchange for a 6th-round pick in the 2027 NFL Draft, and it seems to be kind of a mixed bag of reactions via the text line. Somebody says the Chiefs have to have a mobile quarterback because the offensive line is so bad. That's why Mahomes has gotten hurt the last 4 years. Yeah, I'm really tired of this narrative that the Chiefs' offensive line sucks. I'm sick of it. Like, just tell me you don't watch the games.
Yeah, wasn't he like scrambling up the sideline and like got tackled like on the sideline, like out of bounds when he tore his ACL? He wasn't like behind. And also, like, Creed Humphrey at that point, was he?
To just say that the offensive line was bad is so utterly disingenuous. Like, are we just not going to point out why? You know, you're looking for the causation, but not the correlation in that situation. You're not looking at the cause and the effect. You're just looking at the effect. How about the fact that Josh Simmons missed 2 months of the season because of the family situation and he was away from the team, and then he comes back and then he has a season-ending injury? Why don't we discuss that? Why don't we talk about the fact that Trey Smith missed several games this year because he was hurt? Talk about the fact that Kingsley Suamataia was banged up for the majority of the season. Creed Humphrey was banged up despite not missing time. Jawan Taylor and Jalen Moore, both missing time, missing games because of injury. The whole offensive line was hurt. You were running an offensive line that included Asa Pole and Chu Godric at tackle for an extended period of time. Like, so to just say that the offensive line was ass last year is ridiculous. Like, you either are saying it purposefully just to piss people off, or you didn't watch the football games. That's all I have to say in that situation.
I'm proud to say that I sat right next to you for the Asa Pole and Chu Godric experiment that started in that Texans game when Wanye went down on the first play of the game. I've never felt so bad for a guy too. Like before that game, I was so done with Wanye Morris. Couldn't wait for him to get out of town and just maybe start fresh somewhere else and see what he has. And then he suffers that injury. I just never had so quick of a 180 on a person. I just felt so bad for that guy. You didn't even mention Josh Simmons coming back from the injury to start the season.
Yeah.
Like, he was delayed his start of training camp as well, and he was a rookie, and he played well. The offensive line was fine. The only time the starters on that offensive line negatively impacted the game at all was pre-snap, and that guy has since exited stage right. So, I don't think you're watching the games if you think Mahomes got hurt because of the O-line. That's okay. I just don't think you were watching the games.
No, I don't think so either. Or you're just purposefully trying to irritate people. Somebody says this has Malik Willis written all over it. Boy, that is like best case scenario, in my opinion. I mean, that would personally, I wouldn't want to see this turn into a Malik Willis situation because that would mean that Mahomes misses a considerable amount of time. To me, I would love for this to be like a diet version of what the Saints have did with Taysom Hill for years and years. You know, maybe not like playing him at tight end or anything to that effect, but, you know, having packages where he's in there at running back, pitch plays, quarterback, reverse, whatever. You know, certain sets where if it's a 3rd and 1 or it's a 4th and 1 situation. I know somebody in the text line was like, you're going to take Mahomes off the field on a 4th and 1. If all I need's a yard, and I can put Justin Fields in the backfield with a Kenneth Walker in an RPO style situation, or just to give him the football and tell him to get downhill, yeah. If I'm looking for more than 1 yard, leave Mahomes in the football game. But if all I need is the one, all I need is somebody to go get me one in a fresh set of downs, and you don't want to run the quarterback sneak, and you don't want to get under center because of something that happened to Patrick 7 years ago, and you're sure as hell not going to do it now because of the ACL and LCL injury, yes, put the guy back there and say, hey, just go get us a yard. Okay, we're not asking you to throw the football because, first of all, throwing the football on 4th and 1 feels insane in and of itself the majority of the time, and we saw the Chiefs try that a couple times last year, ended up shooting themselves in the foot over it. So, yeah.
Yeah, since Chad Henne in the divisional round, it's been a bad idea. So basically what you're saying is you want the Chiefs to Brian Daboll this thing. Treat Mahomes the same way you treated Russell Wilson last year and have a little package for Jackson Dart. I understand, Logan. I see where you're going with this.
Yes.
It's in jest that I say that. I do want to bring up this text from the 816 because I said this to you in the bullpen as well. When we're talking about the offensive line not being the reason that Mahomes got hurt, I don't mean to say that they've been as good as they should be.
I agree.
Right? They have significantly invested in, especially in the interior of the offensive line. And for the last few years, we've had the fallback of saying, hey, running back is the reason that they can't run the football. There's no more excuses, right? You got the Super Bowl MVP. You gave him the most money a free agent running back has ever gotten. You got the highest paid guard in football, the highest paid center in football till Linderbaum came along, a second-round pick at left guard, a first-round pick at left tackle. They need to be able to run the football this year.
100%.
They have to be able to.
I'm with you. And you're right. 913 says you also can't say the offensive line was good. And that's 100% true. I will agree to that. Okay. But I also think that it's unfair to say that this offensive line was bad considering the amount of injuries that there were. However, this feels like a sort of put up or shut up kind of season. You've got a first-round pick at left tackle coming into year 2 who performed pretty well, I would say, all things considered, when he was available, right? I think Kingsley Suamataia made a considerable jump from year 1 to year 2, sliding over to the left guard position. I think it's a more natural fit for him. Creed Humphrey is Creed Humphrey. I believe he's the best center in this league. Trey Smith, you paid him all that money, and then injuries riddled his season. So you have to hope that you can do things a little bit differently there. And then right tackle is the real mystery, right? Is it Jalen Moore? Is there some smoke to be said for all these reports about the Chiefs looking at different tackle options? Or, if the 49ers can't find a trade partner for Trent Williams and they cut him, are the Chiefs going to make a run there? Whatever it is, it doesn't seem like the Chiefs are overly comfortable just going with Jalen Moore as the guy at right tackle. If not, at minimum, I think that they'll bring somebody over more, even just to push him, right? Somebody to compete with for the starting right tackle job. But I am of the belief that if this offensive line can stay healthy and play to the potential that I think they have in front of them, this can be a top 10 unit in football.
I think it can be, and it should be. I just think as it relates to the Justin Fields conversation about a 3rd or 4th and short package, I think for that to be effective, for the RPO to be effective, the Chiefs have to be able to establish the run, to threaten the run, and we haven't seen that out of this team the last number of years. Now, I do think this will be a much better running team offensively this season. I wanted the text line because the text line started to heat up a little bit there. Hey, this O-line's been underperforming. How do you say it's good? I'm with you. They're going to be under much more scrutiny this year. That threat of the run simply has to be there considering all they've invested.
And, while it's not necessarily the end-all be-all sort of thing to point out, the Chiefs were one of the better teams in football last year when it came to their running backs and their yards before contact. They were considerably better than, say, the Seattle Seahawks were last year, just trying to, compare the situation that Kenneth Walker came from in Seattle and is now arriving to in Kansas City. So I think a huge part of that was because the running back room didn't have the talent for the offensive line to be fully showcased for what it is capable of. Allow the running game, which I think will be the case, to really burst through this year, and that will open up a whole bevy of things. I think it'll put less pressure on this offensive line to have to protect Mahomes on a down-by-down basis because nobody is in any way, shape, or form scared of what your running game was going to look like. At least they haven't the last 4 years. That is going to dramatically change, at least in my opinion, this next season with the addition of Kenneth Walker, as well as the DeMarcado guy that they brought over from the Cardinals, who we'll discuss a little bit. I don't put a lot of stock into his running ability, but more or less what he can do as a pass catcher. And that's not to say that they still won't look at a running back coming up in the NFL draft here in April.
Yeah, I would love to see. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I would love to see. I'd love to look at that number that you brought up about the Chiefs being one of the best in the league at yards prior to contact. I want to know how many stacked boxes the Chiefs faced, because teams flat out did not respect the threat of the run whatsoever. So I also think I can go back and say, yeah, the O-line was better before contact, and those running backs were definitely terrible after contact. But was that because the O-line was good at run blocking, or was it because there was no one on that second level to block? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a large unknown still, and I think it's going to be fine. I love the addition of Eric Bieniemy. I think the interior of the offensive line is going to be a plus run blocking unit. And as an anti-running backer, I love the contract of Kenneth Walker. I think he fits very well on this team. So we'll see.
I mean, if you've listened to me on this station anytime in the last, 5 months, you'll know that I have long been an advocate of Kenneth Walker, despite people accusing me of only having that opinion after he played well in the postseason. I was saying that well before the playoffs started. 913-586-7965 is our number. More to talk about coming up, including a lot of Kansas City Royals news. Of course, the World Baseball Classic tonight. You've got Venezuela and Italy, a bevy of Royals competing in that. And a little bit of news from ESPN. Jeff Passan, one of the best baseball minds in the sport, who as a media member covers the league, he had some words of very high regard when it came to the Kansas City Royals and some of the things that they could accomplish this season. Logan Weber, Nathan Williams, you're listening to After Hours on 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everybody's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use your FanDuel bonus bets on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even a same-game parlay. But don't wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. March basketball is here, and what better way to celebrate it than with bonus bets with our friends at FanDuel? So make sure that you visit FanDuel.com/local to opt in for bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/local to learn more about bonus bets for the tournament. So whether you think Kansas has a chance to make it all the way to the Final Four, or maybe you think that Missouri has a chance to make it to the second weekend, remember, it's time to dance. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app and the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets across 7 days of receipt. 21 and present in Missouri. Bonus issues non-withdrawable bonus bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There's no place better to watch college basketball than Kansas City. And there's no place better to get all you need for your watch parties than my friends over at Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes your watch party easy. They have a huge selection of ready-to-serve party trays, boneless wings, barbecue, pizza, sushi, and fresh baked goods. They've got it all. And what you can do is order ahead through the Hy-Vee app, online, or at your favorite store. Even if your bracket is a bust, your watch party will be a winner. You can get everything you need only at Hy-Vee.
Feeling the squeeze of high prices? Then stretch your budget this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Stock up and save big on 99-cent deals throughout the entire store. Like pork loin chops, just 99 cents. Skippy peanut butter, 99 cents. Green Giant vegetables, 6-pack ramen noodles, and much more, just 99 cents. Order through the Hy-Vee app or online and leave the shopping to us. Don't miss the 99-cent sale this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
That pallet of pavers collecting dust? The beginnings of a garden? Those stray fence posts? Are you haunted by half-finished projects on your land? John Deere is here to say, not anymore. Our compact tractors allow you to swap implements easily, and they're backed by the nation's largest dealer network. You always had the right idea, and with the right tools, those projects can get finished for good. Nothing runs like a deer. Learn more at johndeere.com/compact tractors.
Hi, I'm Lacey, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. And yes, I'm actually a jeweler. I bring dream engagement rings to life every day in our jeweler workshop. When I hand set your diamond into your ring, I think about creating a piece you'll wear for a lifetime. I pay attention to the smallest details and treat every ring with the same care and craftsmanship, no matter the size or price. Come see us in store. Shane Company engagement rings are crafted with care from our hands to yours. Because a friend wants your ring to be nothing short of perfect. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13 and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission. No cash access and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
World Baseball Classic tonight, the second semifinal game after last night's semifinal between the United States and the Dominican Republic. Saw the U.S. win it by a score of 2-1. Kind of a rough night for Bobby Witt Jr. at the plate. He was just 1 for 4 in the game. He struck out 3 times. But man, oh man, was he good at shortstop. I mean, had a diving play at one point in the game. Of course, the double play ball up the middle that he kind of just took care of it all by himself. Narrow victory for the U.S. yesterday. So they'll be in the final of this WBC, and they await the winner of tonight's game between Venezuela and Italy. The Italians did make a change prior to today's game. They weren't planning on starting Aaron Nola tonight. However, last-minute shift, apparently, they are going to go with Nola against Kiter Montero for Venezuela. It looks like Mikel's going to bat second in the order for Venezuela. No Salvador Perez in the lineup tonight. It looks like they're going to have Eugenio Suarez DHing, and one of the, I believe Wilson Contreras is going to catch in this game. For Italy, no surprise, Vinny's going to be hitting fourth. He's going to hit cleanup. He's going to play first base in this game. Cags in right field. This is a fascinating game, right? And another opportunity for the Kansas City Royals to continue to be showcased on the national stage, because they have taken this entire tournament by storm. You know, I've stopped referring to it as the World Baseball Classic and started referring to it as the Royals World Baseball Classic, or just the Royals Baseball Classic. I mean, we talked about it a ton before this event started about what it could mean for Bobby Witt Jr. to have the chance to showcase just how good we all know he is here in Kansas City on a national and a worldwide stage. What I didn't anticipate was that over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, Vinny Pasquantino has become one of the most beloved figures in this sport. I mean, non-baseball fans have completely fallen in love with Vinny's personality in this tournament. You know, I mean, MLB has been posting him nonstop on their social media platforms. He's just... And we know this, right? I mean, that's just who Vinny has always been. But, you know, like the spring training home that him and Bobby Witt Jr. have together, and their relationship. And it's been so cool to me to get on social media and see people tweeting and interacting with the events of the World Baseball Classic, and seemingly the faces of it have become the Kansas City Royals. It's become Vinny Pasquantino, really for the tournament, let alone for what he's done for Team Italy. Bobby Witt Jr. has been arguably the best all-around player for Team USA throughout this event, albeit not great at the dish last night. What Michael Garcia was able to do for Venezuela to get them into the semifinal game tonight against Italy. It's been utterly fascinating to watch this young core of Kansas City Royals players who we have so much hope in, who we believe has so much promise, showcasing all the talent that they have in what is currently probably the biggest worldwide stage that baseball has to offer.
It is really cool. And I'll first say to Bobby Witt, it's been funny to watch the reaction online being like, whoa, this guy's super good. Even if you're a casual baseball fan to barely a baseball fan, and we're at the game together, and you turn to me and you're like, man, who's this Acuna guy? Or like, I'm trying to think of someone else like Soto. This guy's like really, it's like, okay, don't talk ball with me if you don't understand how good this guy is. You might as well be like my mother in terms of how much you watch baseball if you don't know how good Bobby Witt Jr. is. At some point, it's like, okay, you're just finding out about this guy? You're not watching the games when your team plays the Royals then, if you're just learning about Bobby Witt Jr., especially defensively.
Yeah, or you're one of those East or West Coast elites that's only paying attention to the teams that are playing in New York or Boston or Los Angeles or San Diego, right?
It's like the talking baseball guys that are like, oh my gosh, Bobby Witt Jr. It's like, yeah, don't you guys live stream your reactions to the Yankees games?
Yeah, aren't you like
so
one of the
watch him play 6 times a year?
Yeah, you're one of the big, and that's the thing that's so irritating is like the people that their job, right? Like what their claim to fame, like talking baseball or any of these podcasts or media companies, right? That like your calling card is that you know baseball and you are fawning over Bobby Witt Jr. in this World Baseball Classic. My immediate reaction is, where the hell have you been?
Yeah, you don't know ball.
Because we've all seen this. Like he's arguably the best shortstop of the 21st century. Just based on what he's done so far in his career. No, let's not forget the guy's only 25 years old. Like, he's maybe not even at the prime of his career yet.
100%. Now, what's really cool about this event, and I'll piggyback off what you started the segment with, if you're just finding out about a guy like Junior Caminero in this tournament who broke onto the scene last year in Tampa, I would understand that if you're a casual viewer of the sport. If you don't live in Kansas City, you probably haven't gotten to know Vinny Pasquantino all that well. And he has had a coming out party like no other. The guy is becoming an absolute cult figure, one of the biggest personalities literally in the sport of baseball. It's happened really since he's always been this way. He's always been sarcastic and down to earth and relatable. Always been a guy teammates rally around, fans love, media love. Like everyone can't get enough of him locally. But like he took over like MLB's Snapchat and Twitter account during the playoffs last year as like their in-stadium correspondent, going around to the fans. He's shooting espresso in the dugout and giving great interviews on a national stage. This has truly been a coming out party for Vinny Pasquantino, and it couldn't happen to anyone better.
And you want to talk about a lot of arguments to be had, no matter where you are in this country, everybody claims to have the best fans, right? For their organization, we want to thank the best fans in the world. The fan base here in Kansas City is utterly unbelievable. What it does. I mean, look at the Chiefs year after year after year in the Patrick Mahomes era have topped the ratings in the National Football League. And then you look at the World Baseball Classic. Every single night that there is a World Baseball Classic game or games on, and the next day the ratings are released, look at who's number one in their markets. It's Kansas City. Kansas City is taking in more of the World Baseball Classic than any other market in the United States, if not the world. So for those that want to say that they have the best market, they have the best fan base in sports, I think Kansas City needs a little bit more consideration for that.
Kansas City, even in sports they don't have a team in the NBA and the NHL, when the game matters, they tune in at a higher clip than the rest of the markets that don't have teams either. Kansas City does really care. When a game means something, like they're locked in. the NWSL, if the Current are playing in an important game, right? Kansas City's locked in more than other markets are. It's absolutely one of the better sports towns in the country when it comes to engagement and viewership. And we have got to be getting so pumped up about this Royals team. We know these guys already. But looking at a guy like Cags coming up with a big hit, or Mikel Garcia, watching him play baseball and thinking, man, last year wasn't a fluke.
Yeah.
This guy's got the goods. And he hasn't really done it in the playoffs yet. But when the lights turn and they get brighter, I'm confident he's going to be even better. Those things have to be getting you super excited.
I mean, I saw tweets the other night after that quarterfinal win they had. People, I mean, big-time media people, important baseball people saying Mikel Garcia might be the most underrated player in Major League Baseball. And I don't know how that doesn't get you excited about what the Royals could accomplish this year. And to kind of bounce off of that, Jeff Passan over the weekend came out with, his thoughts on all 30, basically his superlatives over all 30 teams in Major League Baseball. And he had some very pointed things to say about this Royals team coming into the year. And if these things happen, this could be a very exciting year in KC. 913-586-7965. We'll tell you what Jeff had to say coming up next here on After Hours. Logan Weber, Nathan Williams, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Ready to watch your favorite baseball stars play in the WBC? Get in on the action with BetMGM. Sign in to your BetMGM account and enjoy a WBC Odds Boost token to snag even more winnings on your next bet. It's easy. Just log into BetMGM Sportsbook app, add your WBC bet to your bet slip, and activate your Odds Boost token. If you win your bet with your token activated, you'll score extra winnings. 3 quick steps, and you could be on your way to extra winnings if your next WBC bet hits. The world's greatest baseball players are about to duke it out on a global stage. Don't miss out on the fun and some extra excitement to this year's tournament by signing in to your BetMGM account and grabbing your WBC Odds Boost token today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly.
At Kansas City Proton Institute, we're delivering the future of cancer care with state-of-the-art proton therapy right here in KC. If you have breast, head and neck, or brain cancer, proton therapy may be a better treatment than conventional radiation. Don't wait. Get your second opinion at Kansas City Proton Institute. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced proton therapy team. Learn more at kcpi.com. Kansas City Proton Institute, where you see the best in KC. I hope you are sitting down. The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on monthly premiums, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Matt B. and KC at BBS Insurance's Freedom of Choice plan now. You don't have to wait. Their plan lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and is 30 to 60% lower cost than most Obamacare plans. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you're a small business owner or pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Matt B. and KC for an instant quote over the phone. 816-205-4664. That's 816-205-4664. Or go to bbsinsurance.net. That's bbsinsurance.net. They will customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Is your garage door dropping the ball? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoor.com.
RENNER. Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a staff accountant at the height of tax season.
Congrats. Looks like the company owes, $50 in taxes. How about that?
That seems low. Why only 50?
Why do you care so much? It's not your money.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Somebody in the text line at 913 just said, Vinny is making himself a lot of money on his next contract with being so likable. Yeah. My response to that is, how do you think JJ Piccolo feels right now? How thrilled is he that they got him on that extension prior to this World Baseball Classic tipping off and him becoming one of the most popular players in Major League Baseball, which, as much as I love Vinny, I can't say I saw that coming when this thing started.
Did the extension add extra years, or did it just buy out his arbitration? I think it just bought out his arbitration years.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's fair.
But if it added an extra year to his deal, that would have been an incredible value get by JJ Piccolo. Now, I'm glad this texter brought this up. It's a great text out of the 913. Before the World Baseball Classic, my stance on Vinny was this. Like, look, offense at first base is easy to come by. He's an above-average hitter, but he doesn't do anything else exceedingly well on the baseball field. His defense has gotten much better, but he's not one of these guys that you can't miss at first base due to how good that position is. And guess what? The Royals have a guy that they think they can transfer to first base in a year or two because he's going to start hitting too. He plays right field. He's also on Team Italy. You've heard of him. It's Jack Caglione. Yeah. So I love Vinny, but like it's not a guy that you pay. You got Bobby, you got Michael. Then if Cags breaks out, you pay him too, and that's your core. Man, to the extent that that can change and I can become like my fandom can take over me and I can change that opinion, it's happened. I'm looking at this like if he leaves the Royals in a couple of years, it's going to hurt. Like, just as a fan, as an enjoyer of the sport, I want that guy on my team, man.
It's going to be
so damn fun.
Yeah, he is. And he's a great baseball player on top of it, right? I mean, he's coming off of the best year of his career, 32 homers, 113 RBIs. He hit 264, still plays a really good first base. I mean, the 3 home run game aside, you know, the only one that's ever happened in the history of the World Baseball Classic, some of the plays that he's made in the field at first base, you know, hitting the split, stretching out as far as he possibly can to pick a couple. I mean, he's been really, really good at first base in this tournament as well. And it sort of led me to a thought that I didn't have prior to this tournament starting. You know, Salvador Perez is, you know, who knows how much longer his career extends. You know, if Salvador Perez, when he inevitably does retire, if Vinny Pasquantino is still on this baseball team, obviously everybody knows that it's Bobby Witt Jr.'s team, right? It has been the last couple of years. It will continue to be so. But with the personality that we've seen from Vinny Pasquantino over the last couple of weeks, with the leadership that he's exhibited with Team Italy, if Vinny Pasquantino is still on this Royals team when Salvador Perez inevitably hangs up the cleats, I think it's a very, very real possibility that Vinny Pasquantino could be the next captain of the Kansas City Royals and not Bobby Witt Jr.
That's a great point. Well, and I mean, I love Bobby. He's also probably the most talented player this organization's ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a given that they name a captain. Salvy's only the 4th one in team history.
True.
Sweeney was the last one, if I remember correctly. So this is not something where, like football, they name captains and someone's got to be the captain. That's not the case in baseball. You give that to an honorary part of your organization. But I'm right there with you. I'd be in Camp Vinny. If he signs an extension on this team, Yeah, makes a lot of sense based on the personality.
He feels like the right kind of guy that the Royals would want to have representing them as the captain of their organization. Now, who knows if that's going to be the case? Who knows if Vinny is still on this team 2 years from now, right? Because it was just a 2-year extension. It just bought him out of the last 2 years of his arbitration. But, I mean, with the way that he played last year, the way he's played in this World Baseball Classic and the personality that he's become, if he has another really good year for the Royals this season, they might be saving themselves a considerable amount of money on his arbitration, on his contract for next year, depending on his performance. So I don't know.
And if they were to sign him to an extension, if we could look into our crystal ball and know they were going to extend him, and you knew that in your mind for the next half decade, you got Bobby, Michael, Vinny, and Cags in the meat of this order, that is that's a core that could win a world championship.
I'm right there with you. And, another guy who seems to have a lot of belief in this Royals lineup is Jeff Passan. I've teased it a couple of times. We'll get to it here on the other side. I promise you. You're going to want to hear what Jeff Passan had to say in his season preview for the Kansas City Royals. He's a baseball savant. He's a Kansas City guy, so I don't know if there's a little bit of bias attached to what Jeff had to say about the Royals, but really, really high marks that he gives this Royals team heading into 2026. Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams. You guys are listening to After Hours, 913-586-7965. More coming up. K-State has a coach. Mizzou, KU, both in the NCAA tournament. I want to take a look at the field. And how about expansion in the NBA? And you're not going to like where they're landing. That's next. Stick around. 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Up to 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru. The Subaru A Lot to Love event.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Man, your yard looks great. Who does that for you, Gunther?
It's Gunter, no H.
You sure it's not Gunther?
Listen, we've been with Gunter for years. They take care of our lawn with 7 annual applications. We're weed-free and have a lusher, thick, green lawn. Trust me, it's Gunter.
No matter how you say it, we've been helping Kansas City homeowners improve their yards for decades. For greener, thicker lawns, it's Gunter.
I'm pretty sure it's Gunther.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Right now, FanDuel's dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use those FanDuel bonus bets on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. But don't wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. So make sure you visit FanDuel.com/local to opt in for bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/local to learn more about bonus bets for the tournament. Maybe you want to take a shot on one of these teams to go from a game in Dayton, Ohio to win multiple games in the tournament. Or you're feeling pretty good about any of the teams in the Big 12 Conference. FanDuel, it's time to dance. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute. That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com.
Love college basketball? Gear up for another exciting season of college ball with a special offer from BetMGM. Sign into your BetMGM account and enjoy a college basketball odds boost token to snag even more winnings on your next bet. Just log into the BetMGM Sportsbook app, add any college basketball bet to your bet slip, and activate your odds boost token. If you win your bet with your token activated, you'll score extra winnings. It's that simple. Log in and enjoy our odds boost token to help you create another memorable season of college ball. Head for the net with BetMGM all season long. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This promotional offer not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Total.
Follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes content at The Fan 965, KFMC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, I've teased it long enough. So this article from Jeff Passan came down, I think it was on Friday? Might have been Saturday. But he went through and he did a season preview, right? Predictions, fantasy tips, things like that for all 30 teams in Major League Baseball. And here's what he had to say about the Kansas City Royals. And get ready, because this, if you're not already excited about the Royals season, this may just do it for you. He begins by saying that he believes the season may hinge on Bobby Witt Jr. He said at 25, he's in the middle of his prime. And while he was excellent in 2025, he believes there is, quote, more in the tank for Bobby Witt Jr. He goes on to say that behind Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, he's the best player in baseball. And this one excites me a little bit because this is something that he and I very much agree on. He says if you're judging strictly on all-around talent, he is king, meaning Bobby Witt Jr., which I have said. If you're looking at an all-around baseball player, Bobby Witt Jr. is the best in the league. Ohtani and Judge are ahead of him because of the things that they do well being so otherworldly, right? You can't put Bobby Witt Jr. above Shohei Ohtani, I don't think, on a list of the best players in baseball because he's doing something that nobody's done in the last 100 years, maybe ever. Being a guy that could he could lead the league in home runs and lead the league in strikeouts at the same time. Not even Babe Ruth did that or was capable of that throughout his career. Right? Babe Ruth was a great pitcher who became a great hitter. He never did them both at the same time. That's what Shohei does. And then you've got Aaron Judge, who is the best power hitter of the last 20 years of Major League Baseball.
Pujols.
Yeah. I mean, constantly a guy hitting 55 plus or, set the American League record for home runs in a single season. And yeah, you can make the joke about him playing half his games inside Yankee Stadium, and that's completely warranted. The numbers for Aaron Judge are astronomical. The power numbers, his ability to get on base is otherworldly. But if you want a true five-tool player, it's Bobby Witt Jr., and Jeff Passan agrees. He mentioned the new dimensions with the walls being moved in and shortened out at Kauffman Stadium. He said Witt's homer total is primed to spike back into the 30s and perhaps higher. I saw another guy on ESPN a couple weeks ago made a prediction that Bobby Witt Jr. could have a 40-40 season, and that if he does so, he'd be an MVP. And as he has illustrated, this again from Passan, says that no shortstop plays the position with the combination of athleticism, grace, and arm that Bobby Witt Jr. does. So that's how he kicks things off, by talking about just how good Bobby Witt Jr. is. We all know that. He goes on to say, if you want to win your fantasy league, go after Carter Jensen. Said it's not going out on a limb to say that Carter Jensen will be a top 5 hitter at the catcher position, even as a rookie. Called his power monumental, and his willingness to let the ball travel and wallop it to the opposite field speaks to a maturity well beyond his 22 years. Said Kansas City's offense has a chance to be very good this year, and Jensen is one big reason. He also came out with it wouldn't surprise me if, that's how he titles it. What wouldn't surprise Jeff Passan? If Jack Caglione hit 30 home runs this season. Said his rookie year was rough with flashes of brilliance surrounded by fits of disappointment. He said the talent hasn't gone anywhere, though. Cag's raw power is so supreme that anyone sleeping on it will be awoken by the sound it makes when his barrel strikes the ball. He said maybe at the end of the day, Caglione is nothing more than an exit velo monster who can't put together the other elements to become a quality hitter, but that's unlikely.
Can you read that write-up to me again?
Which one?
The first sentence of the Cags write-up.
It wouldn't surprise me if Jack Caglione hits 30 home runs this year.
Okay, the next one. Describing the sound off as bat.
Caglione's raw power is so supreme that anyone sleeping on it will be awoken by the sound it makes when his barrel strikes the ball.
We need to get that to Cody, Gold, and Drew immediately for the segment they do about NFL prospects where they play sexual music underneath that. That is erotica.
Yeah.
That should not be
Sultry.
allowed on ESPN. That I haven't heard this, but these write-ups about both Jensen and Caglione, I'm like jumping up and down over here.
Yeah. Dog. Imagine. I'm not saying that Jeff Passan's going to be 100% right on this, okay? But let's just picture a world where the Royals have the pitching rotation that they have, which is probably top 10 in baseball. Reagan's at the top, Lugo, Waka, Bergert, potentially, and or, you've got Bubic in there. You've got Noah Cameron, Kolek. This starting pitching rotation has depth and talent on it. The bullpen is even stronger than it was a year ago. Bringing in the guy that they brought over from Milwaukee, the Mears guy, aside from all the other guys that they've got on this team, bringing Matt Strom back to Kansas City from the Phillies. And then you look at this lineup, Bobby Witt Jr. getting back to a 30 home run sort of a year in a lineup that already includes Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez and Maikel Garcia. And then Carter Jensen becomes a top 5 hitting catcher in Major League Baseball as a rookie, and Jack Caglione hits 30 home runs. That's a team that can win 100 games.
This team right now should compete for the division. I'm not saying they'll win the division, and Skubal and Valdez, the top of that rotation, is dynamite. But this team as constructed right now, with no projections, should be in the competition for the AL Central. If one of those things comes true, Cag hits for 30 home runs, or Jensen is the top 5 hitting catcher in baseball, this team does win the division and probably makes a run in the playoffs. Allowing myself to dream for a second, if both of those things happen, that's a 100-game winner.
Yeah.
That probably falls to the Dodgers in the World Series because the Dodgers have the starting pitching advantage. But they wouldn't have that big of a lineup advantage. On an all-time scale, sure. Those guys are probably more decorated than the Royals. That would run 6 deep of superstars offensively. Salvi might not be a superstar offensively anymore, but if he's the 6th best hitter in your lineup,
you're doing all right.
You're doing pretty good.
You're doing all right. And then 7, 8, 9 is 7, 8, 9. It's Isbell or Lane Thomas in center. It's Isaac Collins or Lane Thomas in left.
Yeah, but it's
India at second.
You can platoon them if you want to, because you've got Lane Thomas and Collins and Isbell. You got Massey to spell out India. None of those guys are world beaters.
No.
But they're also not John Raves and Nick Loftons, all due respect. So they're professional AB guys.
And if you're looking at if this lineup plays to the caliber that Jeff Passan believes it can, if Cags is pacing for 30 homers, I should say, and Carter Jensen's playing like the American League Rookie of the Year, who's to say that this Royals team is not sitting there in the month of July looking for a trade partner to bring in another all-star caliber bat on a team that's not competing, that's willing to get rid of something. And you bring a 7th outstanding bat to put in this lineup to see what else you can unlock for a postseason run.
Absolutely. Well, and Royals fans probably, if you're watching the World Baseball Classic, just had a fear that everything we were saying came crumbling down. So Luis Arraez in the top of the first inning hit a line drive to center field with Michael on first. Michael was running. So the throw went back to first base, and there was a little collision between Vinny and Michael Garcia.
Oh.
Michael Garcia went into Vinny's leg. He went down. He popped right back up. He was fine. But for half a second in here while you were talking, I had flashbacks to Moose and Gordo colliding in 2016. I was about to I was going to be really upset, Logan, but we're fine. Vinny's fine. So is Michael.
Oh, that would have absolutely
You'll have to look up the replay. It didn't look like he was hurt, but they did run into each other. And we saw last night, was it Seiya Suzuki?
Yeah.
Overslid the bag and came out of the game. Just 2 more games of all these guys staying healthy in the World Baseball Classic.
Somebody said, I love your enthusiasm, Logan. What makes you think Reagans can stay healthy or that Lugo will return to form? I'm somehow more confident in Cole Reagans being able to stay healthy than I am Seth Lugo being able to return to form. Reagans is still young enough in his career to bounce back. I mean, the way that the reports say he's handled the offseason and the injury and his rehab and recovery, it does allow for me to be a little bit more optimistic about his situation. I'm not saying with 100% confidence that Cole Reagans is going to be a 30-game starter for the Royals this year. But I have a little bit more faith in that than I do Seth Lugo being able to return to form. And I understand the question you're asking, that you're posing here, and that's why I brought up names like Ryan Bergert or Steven Kolick, as rotational guys that the Royals could use as starters if injuries crop up. Look at, and I know the Royals want to use him as a reliever, but if they need him to, Luinder Avila has been a starter throughout his career as a prospect, and he looked really, really good for the Royals in limited innings last year. He's done good things in spring training. He was a part of the World Baseball Classic. So
isn't he on Venezuela?
Yeah.
So he could pitch again in this thing, right?
Absolutely he could. So I think that he's maybe another guy that you could consider for this team. And there's another name that I cannot remember off the top of my head. I believe he was another pitcher that was a part of the Bergert trade, I want to say, because they acquired 2 starters from San Diego in the Freddie Fermin deal,
it was
right?
Ryan Bergert and Steven Kolick.
Okay, and then didn't they bring in another one?
Well, they brought in Bailey Falter. Who got shellacked in his few outings that he had last season. But still, as starting pitching depth, I don't hate it. If you're running just through the names, Bergert, Kolick, Avila, Bailey Falter's probably your 9th starter up this year. I'm not complaining about your 3rd guy in Omaha being not perfect, right? But yeah, Bailey Falter was brought in at the deadline last year too.
Okay, that's the name I was thinking, and he was from Pittsburgh. That was a completely separate deal, right? Yeah. Okay, so again, I just think that this team's got depth in its starting pitching, and I just can't ignore. I understand the hesitancy with getting excited about Cole Reagans because of the injuries, and that's and rightfully so. I have concerns with that myself. I just think that he handled this offseason differently than he ever has before. Even spring training, he's been a little bit safer in his approach. That's why he declined to participate in the World Baseball Classic with Team USA, because he wants to make sure he is in the best possible situation when the season begins to be at his healthiest to help this Royals team along. And if that's the case, Cole Reagans, talent-wise, is maybe a top 10 pitcher in baseball in terms of pure talent. If Cole Reagans has a fully healthy season, pitches to his potential, he'll finish in the top 5 of the Cy Young voting in the American League again. That's how good he is if he can stay healthy. Do I know that that's going to happen? No, I don't. And that's the beauty and the curse of being a sports fan.
I did not know Francisco Cervelli was the manager for Team Italy. I've seen his interviews, didn't know that was him. Francisco Cervelli is a good pull if you're sitting around naming ex-baseball players from our youth.
You trying to do you're trying to do a diamond grid. He's a solid one.
Yeah, it's a good
because he played for
the Yankees,
6 teams?
Pirates, Braves, and Marlins.
Okay, so only 4. And a huge chunk of that was Atlanta and New York, right?
Pittsburgh and New York.
Pittsburgh
he
and
played
New York.
14 games for the Braves and 16 for the Marlins. So if you need a sneaky Brave and Marlin on your square, Francisco Cervelli is probably like a 0.5 or lower.
He played a long time in the league, too.
Shout out
as a
Cervelli.
backup catcher. Man. Did he make an all-star game at one point in his career? Like with Pittsburgh, like one random year where he hit like 280 or something?
He did not make the all-star game, but looks like he hit 295 a year in Pittsburgh and hit 300 for a year in New York. Now, he wasn't the starter that year in New York, but that 2015 season in Pittsburgh, 500 plate appearances, 771 OPS, a 295 batting average. Not a whole lot of pop. He hit 7 out of the park. But yeah, he was okay when he was a starter. He was okay.
Interesting. 913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up, including keeping track of what's going on in this Venezuela-Italy World Baseball Classic semifinal. But how about the NCAA tournament? Mizzou, KU are in the field of 68. Let's take a look at the bracket. Let's see what the matchups look like for the Jayhawks and the Tigers and the field as a whole. Who are our favorites? What are our predictions? That's next. Stay with us. Logan Weber, Nathan Williams, After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $59.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut back. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight you want. Only $59.99 guaranteed with Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Weight loss hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
Now's the time to complete that painting project you've been putting off. CertaPro Painters provides a free estimate quickly and at the right price. Whether it's interior or exterior, you'll never have to wonder what's next. They provide reliable updates because they know how important your home is to you. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. Remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again. So call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
As the seasons change, it's time to prep your HVAC system with a $49 seasonal tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. A tune-up can help save money on your energy bill and help prevent expensive breakdowns. As your local home service experts, everything we do is backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews adds up to dependable service from neighbors you trust. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mac Maury, and I wanted to let you know that I've started a new social media series called Mac's Minute. Real original, right? It gets released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our station's Instagram and Twitter accounts, plus YouTube Shorts. I'll give you my best take in 60 seconds on the biggest stories in sports and Kansas City. Make sure to follow on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Watch Mac's Minute every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our social media platforms. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
All right, I'm going to get to the NCAA tournament here in a second, but sometimes there are text message that are just so cinematic that they can't be ignored. And these came from a 913, and this got to... He was listening to us at the beginning of the program talking about the Justin Fields acquisition. And I think it's fair to assume that this individual, not a huge fan, okay, said, just tuned in and started listening to the show. Fields as a Chiefs quarterback. What? Russell Wilson wasn't available? At least he has his signature finisher, which is the moon ball. He goes on to say that you and I, Nathan, are beyond blind with this move. Sure, the Chiefs gave up the NFL equivalent of a large pizza and a 12-pack, but still, the actions show you the Chiefs are telling us Mahomes will be out for at least the first 4 to 6 weeks of the regular season, and his rehab isn't coming along, quote, on track. We'll stop there. We'll break down the first half of this message. I don't think it says that at all. If the Chiefs really thought that Mahomes was going to miss a bunch of time, why would they bring along somebody like Justin Fields, who has shown, I would say little to nothing in terms of proving he's a quality quarterback in the NFL. If they really thought Mahomes was going to miss a month and a half, the first 2 months of the season, why wouldn't they go after a veteran like a Joe Flacco, who showed even last year that he could still play the quarterback position at enough of a level for a team to help them win a few games along the road? Why wouldn't they go after a Jameis Winston or a Russell Wilson,
I'll do you one
for
better.
that matter?
I'll do you one better. Sorry to interject here. If the Chiefs thought, well, he's not going to be back by week 4, but maybe after that. If you're having those thoughts as an organization right now, you are getting a contingency plan together for the entire season. You can't just pinpoint he'll be back in week 6, 7 months in the future. So either you think he's going to be good towards the start of the season, or you're worried he's not going to be good at all. What I'm saying is Kyler Murray is the guy you're going after if you have injury concerns with Patrick Mahomes, not just a Joe Flacco level player. I'm shooting higher than that if you're thinking Mahomes is behind the timetable of his injury recovery.
And again, listen, I understand the hesitation, right? You're looking at an ACL recovery, right? And a major knee surgery can be anywhere from 6 months to a year where a guy can come back. And I've seen guys come back in 6 months. I've seen guys come back in 10 months. I would lean towards Mahomes being the kind of guy that could come back and do it in a 6-month period. I mean, science tells, every doctor you would speak to would tell you that an Achilles tear is a minimum year-long process. We just saw Jason Tatum come back in 9 months. So it is very much so possible for a guy to be ahead of the process. And I can't be the only one that feels confident that Mahomes could be that sort of guy that could be ahead of this process, or at least at the upper end of the process, because 6 months would be week 1. I'm seriously, I really do believe that he's going to be just fine, that he will be ready to go for this Chiefs team. If not week 1, then I guess week 2. But 4 to 6 weeks, I have absolutely no reason to believe that it's going to be that long, because every indication has said otherwise. Mahomes seems fairly confident in how the rehab is going. Andy and Bieniemy have said as much. Who's the guy? The shorter dude, covers the NFL for Fox and has for years and years and years. Said last week. Yes.
Glazer. Jay Glazer.
Jay Glazer.
He's plugged in, by the way.
Yes, he absolutely is. That guy is very rarely wrong about a situation.
Is he Ricky Scoops?
It could be, man.
Just kidding.
He seems very confident and has said as much on a national. He was on the Dan Patrick Show and said, "Oh no, Mahomes will be ready to go by week 1." So this move to me does not scream, "Oh, is there concern about Mahomes' availability to begin the season?" At all. Looking at the rest of the message, to believe otherwise about Mahomes missing time is naive and absolute pathological level denial. Fields for a 6th, I would have preferred Mac Jones for a 2nd. I would have jumped off the roof of this building had they given up a 2nd-round pick for Mac Jones. That would have been the end of me, especially with the Chiefs having 2 second-round picks. Or 2 first-round picks. This team has so many needs right now that aren't a backup quarterback. Chiefs got Fields because Reed can't stay away from the gadget player. Wow. I'm going to avoid the second part of that sentence. He's the McCole Hardman, Dexter McCluster version of QBs. Seriously, Reed needs an intervention for the... Not going to read that either. For the attraction he has for gadget players. We'll just sort of use that terminology. I mean, yeah, you're right. He's definitely a gadget dude. But I think that's kind of an interesting thing. I really think I'm fascinated by it. I'm curious to see what a Justin Fields thing looks like when you compare it to what Matt Moore and Chad Henne and Blaine Gabbert and Chase Daniel and even Gardner Minshew last year have been as backup quarterbacks for Kansas City. Because Justin Fields can do something on the field that Patrick Mahomes cannot. And that's never been said by a backup quarterback the Chiefs have had since Mahomes himself was the backup. Right? His ability to run the ball and do it at the caliber that he does. I said earlier in the show, he's 2nd all-time among quarterbacks in yards per carry. Do I want to see him run the ball 10 times a game and keep Mahomes off the field that often? No, I don't. Not even a little bit. But if you could, bring him out there for a package, run him 2 or 3 times a game in situations where you don't want Mahomes to run it, where it's most effective on the ground in those situations, give yourself an added weapon that the defense has to account for. Why not? And just see where it takes you, right? The guy's a former first-round pick for a reason. There has to be talent there. NFL GMs and scouts aren't that dumb that they just took a guy in the first round for no reason whatsoever. This is not going to be a situation where Mahomes is off the field more because of the talent that Justin Fields has at his disposal. It's an added weapon. That's all it is.
Well, and we haven't tossed out this angle yet. I think it says more about Justin Fields than it does even the Chiefs. Like, this is a guy that was not going to start again in New York and is on sort of that line. Like, hey, are you going to stick in the league or are you almost done? Are you going to be a Malik Willis, a Daniel Jones, a guy that goes somewhere and sits and then gets another opportunity? Even though, like, what kind of life are we preserving with Malik Willis playing on that Dolphins team? But that's another story. Like, are you going to have that sort of second half of your career, or are you out of the league here in a year? And so Fields is a guy who knows he's not going to get a starting gig anywhere. Where do you want to go to be the backup? Who needs a backup quarterback? What's a good organization to sit in and learn under to make the most out of the rest of your career? And Where's an organization where you might get a chance to play a couple games if things turn out the right way in your favor? But the Chiefs, it makes a lot of sense. So I think it is Justin Fields going to the Jets and saying, hey, if all offers on the table are similar, could you please send me to Kansas City? Like, that feels like the bigger story here to me than what it says about the Chiefs viewing Mahomes' recovery. I still believe that they would have shot higher than Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, Tyrod Taylor, Jameis Winston, Russell. Name your backup quarterbacks if they were having serious concerns about Mahomes not playing this year.
I'm 100%.
I don't know if Kelsey would be back if that were the case. Like, I just don't think they're moving at all like they're worried about Mahomes' recovery.
No, this team, this is the way that this offseason has played out thus far, feels like a team that knows they're going to be contending again next year. That knows, and maybe not knows they're going to be contending next year, but knows that they're going to have their quarterback behind center to give them the best opportunity to contend next year. And it's been about finding pieces around him to make it work, right? Bringing in a backup quarterback that can run the ball a little bit, where Mahomes doesn't have to put his body on the line potentially in those 3rd and 4th and short situations where you just have to go get a yard, right? Getting a top flight running back in this league in Kenneth Walker to take a little bit of the pressure off in the backfield, making sure that you bring Travis Kelce back for yet another season, and doing it, I will say, on a very team-friendly deal. We may talk a little bit about that because that was contract artistry that they did with T. Kels. This feels like a team that is confident they'll have their quarterback week 1 ready to go this season on a team that can compete and win another Super Bowl. That's the feeling that I get. And doing so with 9 draft picks at their disposal, including 3 in the top 40 and 4 in the top 80. This team feels like it's geared up and ready to go. 913-586-7965. All right, let's talk about the NCAA tournament. All right, KU, Mizzou both make the field of 68. K-State did not, obviously, but they had big news over the weekend. They finalized the deal with a head coach. We'll discuss that as well, but I kind of want to just look at this bracket right now, man. Look at what's going on with the Jayhawks. Look at what's going on with the Tigers and the rest of the field as a whole. That's next. Stay with us. Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams producing our show this evening. After Hours on 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hi, I'm Jacob, your friend and an actual jeweler at Chain Company. I'm proud to work for a family business that's been committed to the highest quality standards for nearly 100 years. Your dream engagement ring is designed for quality every step of the way. We set your diamond by hand, never with machines. Prong tips are beautiful and secure, and intricate details are thoughtfully crafted. At Shane Company, there's no shortcuts, just craftsmanship, because a friend knows true love deserves the highest quality. Visit us in store or at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Have you been diagnosed with head or neck cancer? At Kansas City Proton Institute, we're delivering the future of cancer care with state-of-the-art proton therapy right here in KC. Proton therapy means increased precision, reducing side effects like dry mouth, difficulty swallowing, and the loss of taste as compared to conventional radiation. If you've been diagnosed, don't wait. Get your second opinion today and see Casey's largest, most experienced proton therapy team. Visit kcpi.com, Kansas City Proton Institute, where you see the best in KC.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber, connected to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
It's about time delivery worked on your schedule. Same day, next day, or scheduled in advance. However you plan it, the Home Depot delivers the whole job. From drywall to doors, plumbing to paint, we'll get it there when you need it. Because on the job site, timing is everything. You order, we deliver. It's that easy. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Big spot early for Italy in this World Baseball Classic semifinal. Runners on first and second, only one out in the frame. The man on first base, the Kansas City Royals' own Jack Caglione. That's maybe been the biggest part of this, of Cag's performance in this World Baseball Classic for me, has been his discipline and his eye at the plate, right? I mean, he's hitting .364 in the World Baseball Classic. That in and of itself is incredibly impressive, albeit, yes, it's a very limited sample size, certainly. But the guy's got now a .588 on-base percentage. He's registered 4 hits, a home run, the big fly, right? 4 RBIs in this tournament. But he's also scored 5 runs. He's walked now 5 times in 16 plate appearances. What he's been able to do at the plate, not chasing, because that was a huge thing last year, right? His chase numbers, while they got better as the year progressed, that was something that was a little bit concerning for the Royals last year, and I think what played a big part in his dip in production from AAA up to the big league level. Man, how disciplined he's been at the dish in the batter's box has been kind of exciting for me to see. And hopefully that will translate itself to this Royals team this year where he's going to be looking for his pitch. Seems to me, I mean, a guy that walks a lot to me seems like a guy that is comfortable in the batter's box. And if he can be comfortable in the batter's box in an environment like this, I have to imagine that guy's going to be comfortable in the batter's box at Kauffman Stadium, or damn, for that matter, a Fenway Park or a Dodger Stadium, if it comes to that. A guy that can be confident in the lineup day after day after day. And he's done all of this in this tournament while continuing to play right field.
Yep. You know what a 588 OBP sounds like to me, other than just really good? Sounds like Caglione at Florida, AA, AAA, everything besides the big leagues so far. And I mean, look, I'm not trying to just give him a pass. He's played he's had 230 plate appearances in his career, so maybe a little bit more than like a third of a full season at the big league level, and did it while learning a new position on the fly. So like I'm just so willing and ready to let this thing play out over a full 162 and see how it goes for him.
I mean, looking at his numbers last year, between AA and AAA, he had a 408 on base percentage, right? He walked 31 times in 66 games in the minors last season. In Kansas City, in 62 games, he walked 18 times. So if he could get to that, I mean, very real possibility he could double his walk rate. If this trend continues and he continues to see the ball well when the major league season starts here in a couple weeks, if we're taking into account what he's done so far in this World Baseball Classic, it's been pretty exciting to see as Italy now has the bases juiced in the bottom of the second inning, 1 out in the frame. Montero's having some control issues, to say the least, for Venezuela. He's walked back-to-back batters. So Italy with the best opportunity so far in this game to accomplish getting one over the plate and scoring the first run of the night as a line drive down the left field line is foul. All right, I'm not going to play-by-play the World Baseball Classic on the radio, so we're going to just beseech this for a minute.
FCC, we can talk about the FCC.
I'm going to play-by-play something that's not being broadcasted technically on our airwaves. Yeah, I'm going to avoid that.
Let's avoid that.
All right, let's talk about the NCAA tournament. Selection Sunday last night. Dear God, I was melting on my couch yesterday watching the selection show because, of course, I'm an Iowa fan, and I had to sit and watch 3 sides of the bracket be unveiled before my Iowa Hawkeyes were announced as a 9 seed. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, by the time they got done with the East region, I'm like, oh no. Did Iowa play themselves out of the NCAA tournament because they were horrific down the stretch? I still love them. Still love Ben McCollum. It's year 1 with a new coach. All right. I keep having to tell myself that, but boy, it's an interesting field of 68 to say the least. And just looking off top, the pathways for both the Kansas Jayhawks and the Missouri Tigers here in this region of the country, KU, tough draw, right? I mean, looking at that 4 versus 13 matchup with Cal Baptist, I don't know much about them, right? They're a 13 seed. I would have to be an absolute baseball nut or college basketball nut, which I am to an extent, but I'd have to be in the weeds to know anything about the Cal Baptist Lancers.
All I know is the guy that's been making the news today. I think he's like a senior. He's a guard, averages like 22 a game for them.
Dominic Daniels.
Yeah. Other than that, I have no clue what's going on over there at Cal Baptist.
Yeah, he averages 23 a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. This is this Cal Baptist team. The one thing that I can say about them that should be taken as a good thing for Kansas fans, they don't shoot the ball well. And what I mean by that is that they collectively as a team shoot under 34% from the 3-point line. Okay. I mean, Dominic Daniels, let's face it, the guy shoots at a high volume, 186 3-pointers he's made this year at a 32% clip. Their team leader in 3-point percentage among guys that are like legitimately playing marquee minutes is Jaden Jackson, who in 27 games this year shoots 35.5% from the 3-point line. Okay. They don't have a ton of size on their basketball team either. They got 2 7-footers. Neither one of them really plays all that much. So you look at teams, and the majority of where the big-time upsets come in college basketball in the NCAA tournament, they come from these mid-major schools and these one-bid leagues who come in and they shoot the lights out, right? You look at some of these teams. Look at all the Northern Iowa teams over the years that have been able to upset somebody in the NCAA tournament. You know, that Steph Curry, Drake, Davidson team from all those years ago. There's a team every year, right? Or a couple of teams every year that just come in and shoot the cover off the basketball. Statistically, that is not this Cal Baptist basketball team. So if you're Kansas, I feel pretty confident in your first round matchup against Cal Baptist. What happens beyond that is where things have a tendency to get a little bit interesting, right? I mentioned Northern Iowa, and I'm sorry, I know that there's a little bit of PTSD for Kansas fans, but who knows? You might play them in the second round because they're the 12 seed in your region, and they'll play St. John's in the first round. And this St. John's team is a fascinating enigma for my money because they looked pedestrian in the non-conference. They lost to Alabama close. They lost to Iowa State close. They lost to Auburn early in the year by double figures. They lost to Kentucky by double figures. And then they lost an early conference game to Providence. And you're sitting there like, this St. John's team isn't as good as I thought they were. And then, dear God, if they didn't just turn around and win 16 of their last 17 games in the league, with their only loss coming on the road to UConn. And then they went and they won the Big East tournament. They ended up getting their get back against that UConn team, beating them in the Big East championship game. So I'm a little bit surprised that St. John's got a 5 seed in this tournament. I mean, you gave Purdue a 2 seed, very much so crediting them for winning the Big Ten tournament. But giving St. John's a 5 seed, I would have thought that they were a 4 seed minimum, bordering on a 3 seed. You gave them a 5? Okay. So, I mean, hey, I hate to, I don't want to be a liar, okay? I think if KU beats Cal Baptist, which I believe they will, I think they lose in the round of 32 to St. John's. This St. John's team is really good. This St. John's team is much closer to a Final Four team than I believe Kansas is. And the reason why, the lack of depth for this Jayhawks team absolutely kills my level of confidence in them. It does. I'm sorry. When you get away from that starting 5 of Darren and Trey White and Melvin Council and Flory Badunga and Bryson Tiller, there is nobody off the bench for that Kansas team that strikes fear in me at all. At all. McDowell, nope, not scared of him. Elmarco Jackson, not scared of him. When you're a team that is relying on your starters to score 90% plus of your points, that's typically a recipe for disaster come the NCAA tournament. This St. John's team is deeper than KU, and I think that would be their ultimate undoing. What about the other side? What about the Missouri Tigers? They got a 10 seed. They're going to play 7th seeded Miami in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Let's take a look at that matchup. Let's take a look at their path to a deep run in March. Next, Logan Weber, Nathan Williams. You're listening to After Hours on your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Is your garage door dropping the ball? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoor.com.
R-E-N-N-E-R. Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back. And Underdog is the best place to get in on the action because you can make entries and win money right now in Missouri. Playing on Underdog is super easy. You're just going to choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get those entries right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. No better time than March to use Underdog. Plus, with ladders, streaks, pick'ems, and champions, so many different ways to get in on the action. Download the app today and use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I need a little range. Step to the range. Come on, meet me at the
Introducing the new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club Sandwich. With that juicy Chick-fil-A chicken on a buttermilk ranch bun, jalapeno ranch sauce, and pickled jalapenos, it's a little ranch with a lot of kick. The new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club with original spicy or grilled filet. Available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Talked about KU's first-round matchup against Cal Baptist and the possible second-round matchup between the winner of St. John's and Northern Iowa, and I don't think Kansas fans deserve to have that happen to them twice. So I got St. John's moving on. I've got Kansas moving on and matching up in the round of 32. And I just think St. John's is a deeper roster. You know, I think outside of the point guard matchup, which Darren Peterson is the obvious prohibitive favorite, I think St. John's is just a team with more talent collectively than what the Jayhawks have at their disposal. So I've got KU losing in the round of 32. Then you look across the bracket at the West region, and you've got Mizzou picking up a 10 seed, which kind of surprised me. I figured Mizzou's best path to the NCAA tournament was via Dayton and probably a play-in as an 11 seed. They were able to avoid that as a team that was among the last four in terms of many people's bracketology. But they got a matchup against the Miami Hurricanes, a team that had a really good year in the ACC, finishing third in the league behind only Duke and Virginia, both of whom I believe are Final Four contending teams. I've said for a while now that I think Virginia might be the most underrated team in college basketball this year. They are so good defensively. They shoot the ball well. They protect the paint. But this Miami team, it comes from a variety of places. Really 4 of them, if we're going to be honest with ourselves here. They got 4 guys on this roster that average double figures. Their leading scorer is Malik Renew, who averages 18 a game, almost 19. He also pulls down 6 rebounds. This Miami team is not the best rebounding club there is, but there are 2 guys at the top, Ernest Udeh Jr. and Renew. Those 2 guys rebound at an elite level. You then look beyond that. Trey Donaldson, Shelton Henderson, True Washington, all those guys average at least 12 a game. But this Miami team faces a similar conundrum to what I was talking about with KU's first-round matchup in Cal Baptist. They're not an elite three-point shooting team, all right? They don't have a single guy in, I would say, the top 8 of their rotation. I won't say top 8, top 7 of their rotation that shoots the three-pointer at an elite level. All right, True Washington, among their starters anyway, has the best three-point percentage on the team for the starting 5 at about 36%. But they do bring a guy off the bench. Doesn't play a ton of minutes. Timothej, I'm not even sure how you pronounce the dude's last name. Malovich comes off the bench. He plays about 15 minutes a night. He's played in 31 of their 33 games. He shoots it a lot, and he shoots it at an elite clip. 47% from 3 on 111 attempts so far this season. More or less all he's on the floor for, okay? I mean, he averages under a rebound and a half. He averages less than 1 assist a game. He shoots a whopping 45% from the floor, but he shoots 47% from the three-point line, okay? Does not go inside the arc often. He's shot 123 field goals this year, 111 of them three-pointers. He is a long-range specialist. So when he comes off the bench, run him off the three-point line, rebound the basketball well, because I think where Mizzou's got the best shot is that they've got some matchups with this Miami team that I think could cause some trouble for the Hurricanes. You know, having a guy like Renew or Shelton Henderson, guys that are primarily used for their scoring prowess, to have to go 40 minutes or 35 minutes with a Mark Mitchell, it's going to make it tough on them. This game, in my opinion, will come down to who shoots the ball better from the perimeter, because that has been a problem for Mizzou at times this year as well. I lean towards Miami winning this game. I think that they have more athleticism, and I think over the last month and a half, they've proven to be a little bit more of a consistent three-point shooting team than Mizzou has been. But if it comes down to bench scoring, that could get very interesting in Mizzou's favor, because they rely a lot more on their bench to generate offense than Miami's has, at least so far this season. If they do win, they're going to play the winner of Purdue and Queens, so Purdue. And yeah, Mizzou fans, you're not going to beat Purdue. Sorry, they have matchup nightmares for you all over the place. Trey Kaufman-Wren is going to make it a tough night on Mark Mitchell if you get to that point. Purdue's going to throw a pair of 7-footers at you, one of which is a little bit more burly and tough to guard in and of itself. The other is 7'3" and has seemingly 18 feet long arms. I say, as a Big Ten fan, as somebody who follows the league closely, beat Miami and be okay with that, because you're not taking out Purdue in the round of 32. I don't see it happening. 913-586-7965. Michael Garcia at the plate right now for Venezuela. Italy's up 2-0. They had the bases juiced. They were able to knock in a couple, so the Italians are up a couple of runs early as we head now into the bottom of the third inning after Michael Garcia grounds out. But I want to go through the rest of the NCAA tournament men's basketball bracket and kind of go region by region. Who are our favorites? Who are our biggest sleepers as we approach the first 4 games, which I believe will begin on Thursday? 913-586-7965. Logan Weber, Nathan Williams, After Hours on 96.5, The Fan.
Farouk Banesh at three. Good!
You can't be serious with that shot.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Follow the Character Concerns podcast for more NFL draft content. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Ready to watch your favorite baseball stars play in the WBC? Get in on the action with BetMGM. Sign into your BetMGM account and enjoy a WBC odds boost token to snag even more winnings on your next bet. It's easy. Just log into the BetMGM Sportsbook app, add any WBC bet to your bet slip, and activate your odds boost token. If you win your bet with your token activated, you'll score extra winnings. 3 quick steps and you could be on your way to extra winnings if your next WBC bet hits. The world's greatest ball players are about to duke it out on a global stage. Don't miss out on the fun. Add some extra excitement to this year's tournament by signing into your BetMGM account and grabbing your WBC odds boost token today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Hi, I'm Carter. And I'm Charlie. We'd like to share a quick story about a homeowner named Jack.
Jack had a home he needed to sell fast.
And Jack thought he had it all figured out.
So Jack talked to multiple cash buyers.
Jack chose the highest offer.
But the day before closing, guess what? The buyer backed out.
Leaving Jack with the moving truck all packed in the driveway and not sure what to do.
Jack learned the hard way that the highest offer isn't always the right offer.
Jack got suckered.
Make sure you aren't hung out to dry.
Call our dad at Rex Buys KC.
Our dad is local, he knows Kansas City, and he actually closes deals.
No repairs, no fees, no showings, no surprises.
Just a fair cash offer and a smooth process.
Now, don't be like Jack.
Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com.
Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great. Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Lose weight hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
Sex, intimacy, love. These 3 things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Still 2-0, Italy leads Venezuela as we head into the 3rd hour of After Hours on this Monday night. Logan Weber here with you alongside my producer tonight, Nathan Williams. And Before we hit the top of the hour, we were looking through the NCAA tournament bracket, talking about the setup for Kansas and Mizzou and what an NCAA tournament for them, a run for them may end up looking like. I got Kansas losing in the round of 32 to St. John's, and I've got Mizzou losing in round 1 to Miami. Looking at the rest of the field, however, let's just start in the East region. Duke as the number 1 overall seed. They're not going to lose to Siena, so that's a non-starter. This Ohio State TCU game fascinates me because TCU's played really good basketball as of late. You know, even the loss to Kansas in the Big 12 tournament, they played really well in that game. And I think prior to that, they'd won like 10 of their last 11. I have Ohio State winning this game because I don't like how the matchup at point guard shapes up for the Horned Frogs. Okay, TCU's starting point guard is a guy named Brock Harding. And actually, before transferring to TCU, he played at Iowa. And he's very much undersized. On top of the fact, he doesn't score at a high clip. He's not a tremendous defender. He generates a lot of steals, but that's about it. Okay? I think that Bruce Thornton at Ohio State is going to be a matchup nightmare for TCU in that game. So I have Ohio State, the 8 seed, winning, advancing, and playing Duke in the second round of the tournament. As I said earlier, I've got St. John's in Kansas winning the 5-12 and 4-13 matchups. I've got Louisville beating South Florida, but a lot closer than people think. I think that Michael Brown Jr. is going to have to carry a huge load for the Cardinals to win. And they're just barely going to get it done against South Florida. Michigan State beats North Dakota State. And I've got UCF beating UCLA. There's a lot of concern about whether or not one of UCLA's better players will be available to play in this game because he got banged up during the Big Ten tournament. That could be a huge factor for them. The UCF team has shown that they can win big games against big-time opponents. They beat KU twice in the home and home during the regular season. So UCF is my first bigger upset of this tournament, and then UConn beats Furman. Duke, Ohio State in the round of 32, Blue Devils. St. John's, Kansas, I already said I got St. John's winning that game. Louisville, Michigan State, I've got Michigan State winning that game. I've got UConn beating UCF. So not super exciting, 1 versus 5, 2 versus 3 in the Sweet 16. Duke beats St. John's. I've got Michigan State beating UConn. I like this UConn team. I still think that they're missing a little bit. That combination that Michigan State has at the guard spots with Fears and Cohen Carr, I think they're going to cause this Huskies team fits. So I've got Duke and Michigan State in the Elite Eight in that region. Duke wins the region. Surprise, surprise. That's in the East. In the West, Arizona beats Long Island. I've got Utah State beating Villanova. Don't underestimate what this Aggies team can do. They have been really, really good for quite some time playing out of the Mountain West Conference. This Utah State team can shoot the basketball. And what did I say earlier? If you've got a team that shoots the ball at a high clip, you get hot in March, crazy things can happen. Utah State beats Villanova in the 8-9. Wisconsin over High Point, because Wisconsin is another team that shoots the cover off the basketball, and they've got an elite point guard that runs the show. They got bigs, 6'10", 6'11", that can stretch the floor and shoot it from anywhere, a guy like the Winter kid. I like this Wisconsin team a lot and their ability to maybe make a run to a Sweet 16. Arkansas beats Hawaii. Darius Acuff is unbelievable, dude. If you haven't watched that kid play, please watch that first-round matchup against Hawaii because he's unreal. I then look at this 6-11 matchup. BYU against the winner of North Carolina State and Texas. I don't know who wins that play-in game. I think it's Texas. And I think Texas beats BYU in the first round. As good a player as A.J. Debinsa is, this BYU team has looked a little bit like a shell of itself offensively since Richie Saunders got hurt. So I'm going with Texas to win their game against North Carolina in the play-in and then beat BYU to get to the second round. Gonzaga beats Kennesaw State. I've got Miami beating Mizzou, Purdue beating Queens. Purdue beats Miami, gets to the Sweet 16. I mentioned that earlier. I've got Gonzaga beating Texas in the round of 32. Wisconsin beats Arkansas, gets themselves to the Sweet 16 where they'll play Arizona. Arizona wins and goes to the Final Four. I think that Purdue beats Gonzaga and they get to an Elite Eight. Arizona wins. Because if there's one thing we know about Matt Painter coach teams at Purdue is that they can get to the second weekend. They can get to a Sweet 16 or an Elite Eight, okay? But they can't win the big one. Okay, I mean, they got to what, one Final Four? Was that a Final Four game against UConn where they got beat by like 40? Edie's senior year?
I want to say it was in the Final Four, yeah. Could have been an Elite Eight game. I think it was in the Final Four, though.
What was that, 2020?
Purdue's incredibly lucky they got the draw they did with Miami and Mizzou as the two possible round 2 opponents. They really are lucky.
So that UConn-Purdue game, it was technically 75-60 was the final score, but it was not that close.
By the way, Eugenio Suarez just went yak. It's 2-1 Italy now.
Solo shot, so the Italians lead by only 1 run now. But I'm sorry. I have faith that Purdue can make a run in March, but not that they're a team that could legitimately contend for a national championship, especially against a team like Arizona, which can come at you from a million different places. South region, Florida beats whoever they play in as the 16 seed coming out of the play-in. I have Iowa beating Clemson in the first round. One of the main reasons is because of Clemson's, it's either their leading scorer or their second leading scorer tore his ACL in the ACC tournament. So they're going to be, and he's a forward. He's one of their leading rebounders as well. So a guy that was going to cause some matchup fits for Iowa on the front court, not going to play. I'll tell you one thing. That is not going to be the most entertaining game of the tournament. Okay, if you're looking for high potent offense, Clemson, Iowa in the 8-9 matchup is not it. I was texting Drew last night, Drew Nixon, who's our midday producer here for Cody and Gold, and he's like, Iowa, a 9 seed against Clemson, 2 of the best defensive teams in the country. I said, yeah, it's going to be a rock fight. Okay, it might be first 1 to 50. Legitimate. Somebody might win that NCAA tournament game like 52-47. It is not going to be a super fun game to watch if you like points. Unfortunately, that's been one of the side effects of the post-Fran McCaffrey era at Iowa, was that I could stomach watching Iowa football be elite on defense and have a terrible offense because it was the exact opposite for Iowa basketball. They might score 90, but give up 100. Like it was offense galore. Not the case anymore. Just two of the most elite defenses, football and basketball, is what Iowa's rocking nowadays. So I got them beating Clemson, but like narrowly, like a 57-50 sort of game. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be low scoring, and then Florida's going to boat race Iowa in the round of 32. Way it goes.
I have the same fate for Iowa in my bracket, by the way. I do have them winning in the first round, and then they run into
promptly getting exit stage right from the defending national champions in Florida. The 5-12 game, Vanderbilt against McNeese. Doug, why do I feel like McNeese is going to make another little interesting tournament run? All right. That's maybe my biggest upset of this tournament is 12th seeded McNeese beating Vanderbilt. And I hate to do that because Vanderbilt had an outstanding year. I mean, they really surprised some folks. Top 25 in the country for most of the season. Good run in the SEC tournament. But sometimes a team that makes a big run in their conference tournament can lay a major egg, and it typically resides in that 5-12 game. I think back to, again, as an Iowa fan, a few seasons ago when the Murray twins, Keegan and Chris Murray, were leading the squad, and they won the Big Ten tournament. They got a 5 seed, matched up against 12th-seeded Richmond, and lost in the first round. I've got the same fate befalling the Vanderbilt Commodores in the first round. And then Nebraska, Troy. I want to pick Troy so bad because I hate Nebraska. I'm just being honest, okay? Not to mention, like, historically, fun fact for anybody that's not aware, the University of Nebraska has never won an NCAA tournament game. Ever. Not once in the history of the program. Not for long, though. I think that changes this year. I got to be honest with myself. This Nebraska team is solid, okay? I think they win this game. And I think that Nebraska inevitably gets to a Sweet 16 when they've got a second-round matchup against a 12 seed in McNeese that kind of, I think, let the magic run out, beating Vanderbilt in the first round. North Carolina, VCU, I really want to pick VCU in this game. I just think that North Carolina, the loss of Caleb Wilson might be a little bit too much to overcome for the Tar Heels. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick Virginia Commonwealth to win that 6-11 matchup and advance to the second round where they will play Illinois. Shout out Fran McCaffrey. You know, Penn winning the Ivy League in year one with him as a head coach is an outstanding story. The fact that former Iowa coach Fran McCaffrey is going to go head-to-head with Illinois and Brad Underwood is a cinematic script in and of itself. Penn's got a really, really good player, TJ Power. Former 5-star recruit who started his career at Duke and then went to Virginia before landing at Penn. Scored like 44 points in their conference, the Ivy League championship game against Yale to help them get an OT win. It's not going to go much further than that. 7-10 matchup, St. Mary's against Texas A&M. I'm going with Texas A&M. I like this A&M team. I think they battled in the SEC this year. I'm a little bit surprised that they were as low as a 10 seed in this bracket. I thought they were more along the 9 seed line. I think that's a bad matchup for a St. Mary's team that had a really good year out of the West Coast Conference. I just think SEC will out in that situation. Houston beats Idaho. Houston beats A&M. They get to a Sweet 16. Illinois beats VCU. And it's the top 4 seeds all in the same region. Florida beats Nebraska. I've got Illinois beating Houston. I've got Illinois in the Final Four over Florida. So you're looking at Duke, Illinois in one Final Four matchup. Arizona's on the other side, with the Midwest region the only thing that's left. Any complaints so far? What are you looking at?
No major complaints. Couple retorts.
Okay.
If time allows, I think it might be a kind of a long-winded thought as I kind of go through my bracket region by region. So maybe
let's just take it after the break.
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
Lewin Ravila into the game. So another Royal.
Okay. All right. Getting in, and he's matched up against right now Cags. With Jack Caglione, awesome. And gets Cags to ground out to Michael Garcia. Lewin Ravila pitching for Venezuela to Jack Caglione, who promptly grounds out to Michael Garcia. Royals. Gotta love it, dude. 913-586-7965. We'll get Nathan's thoughts on the NCAA tournament and fill out the Midwest region of the bracket and try to get ourselves to a national championship when we come back. After Hours here on 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? Call Jay Southland Tow Service, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments. They can do it all. Be in the know and call Jay's Southland Tow.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Is your garage door too loud and whining for help? Overhead Door Company of Kansas City will make it all better. They will perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year, so why not now? And for just $79. Call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City at 816-221-0072 or schedule online at overheaddoorkc.com.
We've all been there. You wake up and your knees give you that not today feeling, and it's frustrating and exhausting. Honestly, it's unfair. Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. Yeah, I didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel way older than you actually are. QC Kinetics patients are getting relief, feeling younger, and jumping back into life at full speed without surgery. The medical professionals at QC Kinetics use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science. They take the tiny, powerful healing tools already inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation eases and joint damage slows down, because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate. Your consultation's free. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again. So call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Football season is officially over, but the offseason is just beginning, and 96.5 The Fan will be there every step of the way. We'll have people at the Combine in Indianapolis. We'll be at Arrowhead during free agency. And yes, we'll be live in Pittsburgh for the NFL Draft in April. One of the biggest off-seasons in recent history is underway, and there's only one station you need to listen to, right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Solid inning there from Luinder Avila. Got out of the frame after Venezuela was in some trouble. Able to get him out of the jam. And now, hey, not necessarily a member of the Kansas City Royals anymore.
Kinda. He's not a member of anybody else.
Correct. Actually, no. I think he got signed by the Rockies.
City. Okay.
Yeah, I think Michael Lorenzen is now on the bump for Team Italy, as he's pitching now to Wilson Contreras. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that he got picked up by the Rockies this offseason, but was with the Royals last year, right?
By the way, the
part
captain,
of the season before that.
Yeah, the captain of Team Venezuela, Salvador Perez, not playing tonight. This has to be J.J. Piccolo call in. He can't catch 2 nights in a row, right? Like in the middle of March.
Maybe.
How are you keeping Salvi out of that lineup?
He hasn't played particularly well for Team Venezuela in this tournament.
Agreed, but
it is still Salvador Perez.
Yeah.
It's fair. That's fair. And yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe there's a situation where, Contreras is in his second AB now and the 5th. If there's a situation, say he hits again in the 7th inning, maybe they'll go to Salvi as sort of a pinch hitter situation, try to bring him in late. I don't know. It's fascinating. It is an interesting point. Interesting question that you raised. Contreras just walked again. 2 walks and 2 ABs thus far. 2 plate appearances, I should say. But we're talking about the NCAA tournament. I filled out my bracket already today, just kind of going through matchup by matchup. We've already done 3 regions. We talked about the East region, the West region, and the South. I've got Duke, Illinois, and Arizona coming out of those 3 regions respectively. And Nathan, I asked before we went to break, give us your thoughts on this field, on what I've broken down so far, and kind of utter some rebuttals, if you will.
By the way, Michael Lorenzen, I think, is more jacked, more ripped than he was last year. The guy looks incredible. We've got one of those 3 Final Four teams in common. My theme in this bracket is that, and a lot has been made about this, get ready for chalk. It happened last year, and since NIL became mainstream a couple years ago, we've been trending more and more away from the upset. So the theme in my bracket is going to be a lot of chalk early on, but then as those top 4 to 8 seeds advance in the region, a lot of carnage within them. It's not just going to be 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. So as far as upsets go, I've got one 12/5 that I'm definitely picking. That's Akron. I think Texas Tech is banged up. Akron can score. If I don't know anything about the team, which I know nothing about Akron, I look at guard play, both in points per game, efficiency, and whether they're like upperclassmen at the university. And they've got that. The other 5-12 I'm considering is High Point over Wisconsin. And I know you wax poetic about Wisconsin, but it's the same thing. High Point can score.
Yeah.
Wisconsin's going to be much more physical, but High Point looks like a team that could come out of nowhere and drop 94 in the first round because they're just hot that day. But I'm looking at my bracket and I'm thinking, am I picking all 16 top 4 seeds to win in the first round? And I wasn't comfortable with that. So for that reason, I kept Nebraska's lifetime winless record in the tournament, and I preserved that. I do have Troy beating Nebraska. I don't think Troy's better than Nebraska. I don't think it's a game that I don't particularly think Troy's going to win. I just looked at this bracket and I thought, okay, too much chalk. You overcorrected. Pick some sort of upset here. And it was Troy over Nebraska. So I do have USF beating Louisville. I know you disagreed on that one. And we also share VCU over North Carolina. So those are the other upsets I have in the bracket. But like I mentioned, a lot of carnage once we get past those first few rounds. So in Kansas's region, and a slight detour on Kansas, we knew we'd be here at this point. They can beat anyone. They can lose to anyone.
Yeah.
I don't think they're losing to Cal Baptist. But when I look at a 1-game scenario, could they beat St. John's? Like, St. John's offense goes just as cold as KU's does frequently. KU has manned up and played with physicality at 1 game, 2 games at a time, et cetera, throughout the season. Same thing against a team like Duke. Like, Duke's injured. KU's been hot. I've seen them beat good teams this year. You could do that in every single game they're going to play from the round of 32 on. I just think they're too inconsistent to start going down that path. And for that reason, I also have them losing to St. John's in the second round of the NCAA tournament. I don't put it past. I'm looking at that 1-8 matchup between Duke and Ohio State. I'm picking Duke as of right now. I also like UCLA, man, if they're healthy. I like UCLA to make a run in that region as well. But for right now, I've got UConn coming out of the East. In the South, I also have Florida following before the Final Four. That Illinois-Houston game, if we get it in the Sweet 16, I think could be the game of the tournament. 2 teams that can score, 2 teams that are physical, 2 teams that don't get in a lot of foul trouble, that are led by upperclassmen. I think that could be the game of the tournament, assuming we get it, and we should. They're going to be favored in every game they play. I've got Houston winning that game and going to the Final Four, and then beating UConn when they match up in the Final Four. In the West, this is the one we have in common. It's Arizona. I was going to pick them to come out of whatever bracket they were in. This is the best team in college basketball. They're the healthiest of the best teams in college basketball. And this bracket is easy. Man, I think the team that might have the best chance at getting them might be the 9 seed in Utah State, in my opinion, that they're going to get in the second round. I do have Utah State beating Nova, of course, to get to that point.
As do I.
The bottom half of that bracket is gross. BYU is inconsistent. I don't know a lot about Gonzaga, but I have them in the Sweet 16 by default. And then we've talked about those 4 teams at the bottom: Miami, Missouri, Purdue, and Queens. I'm sorry, St. Louis. I don't think you're a great city, and the games you were given, it reflects that. This is disgusting. And I'm a Mizzou fan. I would love Mizzou on a run, but I'm not picking. I wish I could pick none of those three teams to win. I wish I could, in good conscience, pick Queens to go to the Sweet 16, because those are three teams that would love to choke, but one of them's got to win. So I do have Purdue in the Sweet 16 there. I've got, let's see, Arizona beating Gonzaga in the Elite Eight going to the Final Four. So now we are down to the Midwest.
Yeah, and first of all, I hope you're right. I'm willing to sacrifice I'm willing to be wrong on a pick. I'm willing to be 63 out of 64 if the one I'm wrong about is Nebraska beating Troy. I am more than okay with that.
You want the Chiefs to draft Emmett Johnson. You're picking Nebraska to win.
If that's the one I'm wrong about,
closet Nebraska fan over there, I think.
I'd rather be 63 out of 64 and it's Nebraska losing to Troy than it's Iowa losing to Clemson, if that makes any sense, right? Like I'd rather Iowa lose to Clemson than Nebraska beat Troy, if I'm being completely honest with myself, because Iowa's not a team that's going to compete. This isn't a Final Four team. I'm sorry. This team is run by Bennett Sturts and a bunch of guys on the floor that you hope can score. Not a great recipe for success, if I'm being honest with myself. So let's take a look at the Midwest region. And somebody in the text line earlier was asking me, what's my biggest upset in my tournament bracket? I'll tell you, it resides in the Midwest region. And it's maybe going to surprise some people. Let's start at the top. Michigan against the winner of UMBC and Howard. Yeah, wouldn't it be fun, right? UMBC to come out and as a 16 seed beat a 1 seed again. No, this Michigan team is loaded for bear. It's not going to happen. Wolverines advance. Georgia against SLU, St. Louis. Just gave Josh Schertz a huge contract extension. They're going to expand his NIL budget by an incredible amount. I like this SLU team. I mean, I liked him a couple years ago when they were at Indiana State. He brought a bunch of those guys over with him. He's added some really, really good pieces that have fit with what he wants to do. I've got SLU beating Georgia. I think if just collectively, I think the SEC may have been the most overrated league in college basketball this year. A team like Georgia as an 8 seed, I think if they would have been in the ACC or the Big East instead of the SEC, they might have been a 10 seed. I don't have a lot of faith in this Georgia Bulldogs basketball team. I'm going to go with SLU to win that 8-9 matchup.
Yeah, and assuming you have Michigan taking care of SLU in the second round, we're in lockstep when it comes to those 4 teams.
Yep. I got Michigan in the Sweet 16 of that one. This is where things get interesting. And I love your pick of Akron over Texas Tech. I went back and forth on that decision with myself over and over again. I ultimately landed on Texas Tech to beat Akron narrowly. Like I think Texas Tech wins this game like 85-82, and it requires a 3 with like 6 seconds left in the game to put them over the top, and Akron's just not able to hit one at the buzzer to ultimately send it to OT. I've got Texas Tech barely winning that game and advancing to the round of 32, where they will take on my biggest upset of the tournament. I've got Hofstra beating Alabama. I've said it over and over again. The recipe for success, more often than not, for these Cinderella teams that we see go on remarkable runs to a Sweet 16, to an Elite 8, and maybe even on occasion a Final Four, elite three-point shooting. They just shoot the lights out of the building. Let me introduce you to 2 names, Cruz Davis and Preston Edmeades. These 2 guys combine for 36 points a game between the 2 of them. Cruz Davis averages 20 a night, and Edmeades averages just under 16. They shoot a combined 39% from the three-point line between the 2 of them, on almost 440 three-point attempts this season. So they shoot the ball at an elite level on a crazy usage percentage. This Hofstra team lives and dies by the three-pointer. They took almost 900 threes as a team this year. In 34 games, they shoot it at an unbelievable clip.
It's like almost once a minute.
Yeah.
It's a lot of threes.
Yeah. 34 games this year, they shot 876 three-pointers. feel free to do that math real quick in your head. It's over 25 a game, I believe. And they shoot it as a team at 37% from the floor.
Yeah, 26 threes a minute. Yeah, or a game.
Yeah, 26 threes a game. This is a team that could very much so be like 14 of 26 in a first-round game against Alabama, who is facing a little bit of turmoil right now as their second best player, their second leading scorer was just kicked off the team for some off-court stuff. So this Alabama team is coming in shorthanded after, sort of a ho-hum performance in the SEC tournament. Give me Hofstra to beat Alabama in the first round. Set themselves up for a second-round matchup against Texas Tech where they beat the Red Raiders. I've got a 13th seeded Hofstra team in the Sweet 16 playing Michigan. Alabama shorthanded because of the off-the-court stuff around their second-best player. Texas Tech shorthanded because of the season-ending injury to JT Toppin. That's what Cinderella runs are made of. Teams that shoot the ball at an elite level against teams that come in with a lack of depth because of injuries or other extenuating circumstances. That's what Hofstra has got in front of them. I got them in the Sweet 16 against Michigan, where, of course, they inevitably lose and their Cinderella run comes to a close against the top-seeded Wolverines.
Yeah, I think this is the location in the bracket where I think something funky could happen and the 12 or 13 gets, I think it's the likeliest part of the bracket. I wouldn't be surprised if both the 12 and 13 seeds win. I have gone back and forth with Alabama and Hofstra based on whether or not this kid plays, the one that was arrested. And just like that Wisconsin High Point matchup, like, yes, the underdog can score like crazy, so can the favorite.
Yeah.
Like, Alabama can score. And so I have Akron over Tech and then over Alabama at this point in time as well. So I've got Akron in the Sweet 16, losing to Michigan, Michigan moving on to the Elite Eight.
Then taking a look at the bottom half of that Midwest region, 6-seeded Tennessee, they will play the winner in Dayton of Miami of Ohio and SMU. I really wanted to pick Miami of Ohio as the 11 seed to beat SMU and then beat Tennessee to get to the round of 32. I couldn't quite do it because I didn't want to pick both 11 seeds out of the play-in to win their first-round matchups against a 6 seed. Just couldn't do it. But anybody who says that Auburn deserved to get in over Miami of Ohio or SMU is either an Auburn fan or lying to themselves. Okay, or
both.
You're a guy on CBS Sports who decided to retire at the last minute just so that his son could get the job. Shout out to Bruce Pearl and his lack of objectivity. So I got Tennessee beating Miami of Ohio in that first round matchup and advancing. I've got Virginia beating Wright State, Virginia advancing to the Sweet 16 over the Volunteers. And then in the bottom half of the bracket, I have 10th seeded Santa Clara beating Kentucky. This Mark Pope-led Kentucky team is just wildly inconsistent. They have been all year. One of those teams like Kansas you mentioned earlier can beat anybody on a good night. They can lose to anybody on a bad night. That kind of feels like that sort of matchup for Kentucky. So I've got Santa Clara winning. I've got Iowa State beating Tennessee State. So it'll set up, in my opinion, Iowa State, Virginia in a Sweet 16 matchup where I've got the Cavaliers winning to play Michigan in the Elite Eight.
The only place we disagree in the bottom half of that region is I'm taking Santa Clara over Iowa State in one of my bigger upsets of the second round. I don't trust Iowa State. It's like Purdue, man. I look at them and I'm like, when's the other shoe going to drop in March? It seemingly does every year, and they've burned me time and time again in my brackets. I also have Virginia cleaning it up, though, moving on to the Elite Eight. I'll go ahead and get this out there. I'm taking Virginia over Michigan and on to the Final Four.
My guy. Same boat. Virginia over Michigan. So
Arizona and Virginia on that side of the bracket. We have the same.
Yep, same side of that bracket. I have said for months that I think Virginia is the most underrated team in college basketball. They play. I mean, the defense that they play at Virginia, that's continued to translate. Even after the Tony Bennett era, there in Virginia. So yeah, Duke, Illinois, Arizona, Virginia, and I have to say, would not be disappointed if Iowa State lost in the round of 32. Not even in the slightest. Really, I hope you're right on both accounts. I hope you're right that Nebraska loses in the first round, and I hope you're right that Iowa State loses in the second.
I'm not trying to suck up to you. I picked Iowa over Clemson. I've got Nebraska losing to Troy, and I've got Iowa State losing to Santa Clara. I don't think I need to earn your favor, but my bracket is like Logan Weber approved.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, somebody in the text line earlier said that they had Iowa in the Final Four. I said, you are our Elite Eight, maybe. Might have been the Elite Eight. I was like, that's a level of confidence that I do not have. They also led to me they asked me, Logan, what would you rather see, Iowa to the Final Four or Bobby winning an MVP? I love Bobby Witt Jr. and I love the Kansas City Royals, but you would not be able to wipe the smile off my face if Iowa got to a Final Four. Dude, I would be fine if Iowa got to a Sweet 16. They haven't been to one since 1999. I was a year old the last time Iowa reached a Sweet 16. I'd be satisfied with that, my guy. A Final Four? Dog, you wouldn't be able to tell me anything. I'd be on top of the world. All right, Duke, Illinois, Arizona, Virginia. That's our Final Four. Let's talk about that next. 913-586-7965. Logan Weber alongside my producer tonight, Nathan Williams. Let's decide a national champion according to our brackets. Coming up on After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code KFNZ and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Get into hockey, basketball, and more of your favorite sports with same-game parlays, live betting, and more. Earn BetMGM rewards points on every bet. Take advantage of offers found nowhere else. And keep an eye out for rewards dropping in your account throughout the year. Sign up with bonus code KFNZ and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11120.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Physiotherapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Hey guys, this is Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dane & Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch, KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City. for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
So we've gone through each region. We've whittled it down to 4. Our final 4. For me, it's Duke, Illinois, Arizona, and Virginia. Nathan, I know you've got Arizona and Virginia in one of your matchups. Your other,
UConn and Houston.
UConn and Houston. All right. Well, I'll tell you what my national championship matchup is. And it's not all that exciting. I'll be completely honest. Okay, it's the top 2 teams. In terms of seeding, I've got Duke against Arizona in the national championship game, with Duke ultimately coming away the winner. I've got a score of 78-71 Blue Devils. John Shire gets his first national championship as the heir apparent to Mike Krzyzewski. Blue Devils get another title under the belt.
We've got a rematch, including the outcome of the Big 12 championship game in the national championship. Arizona over Houston, and for purposes of the tiebreak on ESPN's Tournament Challenge thing, I put 79-72 Arizona as the score. Arizona has been, and it's a dangerous place to be, covering sports, predicting sports. They have been the team I was going to pick to win this thing since day one of this season. Health, assuming good health. I think their backcourt can't be beat. Obviously love Pete. There's that, is it Krivas that just outbodied Flory here for the first half of that game in Allen Fieldhouse earlier this year. A bunch of other role players that I can't name. Bradley hitting that shot after we were making fun of him being a Big 12 player of the year. I mean, they're just the best team from top to bottom, in my opinion. At least the most healthy, if you want to say Duke is up there with them. I just saw them beat Houston with my own 2 eyes, so I'm not just picking them because I want them to win this thing, so I'll be right. I genuinely think they're the best team in this tournament.
So you've got Arizona beating Houston. I've got Duke beating Arizona to be the national champion this year. So we had 2 of the same 4 teams in the Final Four. We had one similar team in the national championship, but that one team facing a different result in each of our 2 brackets. And you know, talk about a team that you've thought for a while. I thought Michigan was the best team in the country for a while. I mean, from what they did in that early season tournament they played in, I thought this Michigan team was going to run roughshod over college basketball. Then their backup point guard had that season-ending injury, and this Michigan team's just looked a little bit different. I think Michigan's ultimate Achilles heel is that they have a tendency to be, lackadaisical with the basketball. They turn it over quite a bit for a team that is supposed to be a national championship contender. That's a huge part of why I have them losing in the Elite Eight to Virginia in a matchup against a really, really strong defensive team that will force you into mistakes. So, I can't say I disagree with your assessment of Arizona. They've been so good all year long. I mean, they had that little stretch where they lost 2 in a row, and everybody's like, are the wheels falling off for Arizona? And they got right back on the horse, right back on track, and ran the table the rest of the way through. A matchup the one that I've got, Duke against Arizona, is going to be, it would be a really good natty if we saw it. And how about that for the Big 12 if it's Houston against Arizona? That'll be a fascinating one and a huge boon for the Big 12 Conference.
It would. And look, I'm with you on being surprised at where I have Michigan exiting. I also just think if you compare them to Arizona, Arizona's got the easier bracket. There's nobody in that thing that you would, in your right mind, pick over Arizona unless Burries goes down or Bradley goes down or something like that. Catastrophic happens.
Yeah.
Virginia's way better than Purdue or Gonzaga, in my opinion. And the other 1 seeds have the same challenges too. Illinois, Houston, what I said would be my favorite game of the tournament if that happens in the Sweet 16. Either of those teams could get Florida. I think Vandy, if they make it that far with the familiarity aspect, could get Florida as well. And obviously in KU's region, there's about 7 teams that could get Duke. It's carnage. Any of those teams could beat anyone. I still maintain that if UCLA is healthy, they could be the one to get Duke if they get that far. But of course, Michigan State, UConn, Kansas, or St. John's could do so as well. So Arizona also has the easiest path.
100%. And the East is absolutely the toughest region in this tournament. 913-586-7965. We'll take a break, come back, and wrap things up next. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber here with you, alongside my producer for this evening, Nathan Williams, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by AB May. Trust AB May to keep your home warm. For 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems, call 913-732-9993 today. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Whether you're commuting to work or heading out for a fast coffee break, getting an auto insurance quote is just a tap away. With AAA, you're always connected, so you can focus on the road ahead. Rest easy knowing AAA's got you covered, no matter where life takes you. AAA, we're always with you. To start your quote, visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all of the action. And right now, it's March. It's basketball season, and there's so much going on. And you can make entries and win money right now in Missouri. And playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get all those entries right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. And I love playing on the Underdog app because it allows me to make selections from multiple sports, combine them into one entry, and see what I can do. And if you get all your entries right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So here's what you're going to do. Download the app today and use promo code BOB to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5 with promo code BOB. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 and over, present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Sex, intimacy, love. These 3 things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Is your garage door dropping the ball? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoor.com.
RENNER.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
If you need a new appliance, this is your sign. Shop at Lowe's now to get up to 35% off and next-day delivery on hundreds of major appliances. A new appliance now means an easier to-do list later. Our best lineup is at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Order by 4 p.m. Available Monday through Saturday. Subject to availability. Fees, exclusions, and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/appliance delivery for more details.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Wow, that's statement AB from Angel Serpa there. Goes high and tight, almost takes the guy's head clean off his shoulders, and then just 98 outside middle, just blew it right by him. Hey, shout out Luinder Avila. 2 1/3 scoreless innings for Venezuela as they try to stay in this game right now. 2-1, Italy still leads it. For my producer, Nathan Williams, I'm Logan Weber. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for getting involved in the text line. As always,